well organised. It's a turnover. So we remain scoreless so far. Both sides really just cancelling each other out. Oh, and a critical mistake on the 5 metre. Just a lack of concentration. It allows the opening potentially here for the Midlands Tigers. Jay Lee in the middle here. Here's Lucy Snapley, gets it back. Going in for the line, diving early. Midlands Tigers still applying all this pressure, looking to go out wide. Do they get the ball down just in the nick of time? Greg Cropper gives the score, and that's our opening score of the day. Midlands Tigers finally get the breakthrough. And it was Thea Dawson going in on the line on this near side. And the Tigers are 1 up. I'm delighted to say, joining myself, Bradley Hope, I'm joined with Chris Wearmouth for this one. And this is actually a really entertaining matchup between these two sides, both packed with, well, some very familiar names in both sides, Chris.
Yeah, if you've been watching a lot of touch over the last year, Brad, you'll have seen a lot of these players, both on the BBC and the YouTube channels, play for England in the European Touch Championships 12 months ago, and then the World Cup earlier this year, and some as well at the European Club Championships in Maidenhead a couple of weeks ago. And Jenny Lee is one of those players. She won bronze with the women's 27s in the World Cup and was playing for La Roque in Spain. She commutes up from Spain to play in the domestic tournaments here. And the ability that she's got, as we saw with the score there, is to get the ball wide, and that's priceless in the women's form of the game. And Susanna Hudson, who's got the ball at the minute, she's another one for the Sharks who's got that exact same ability, and we'll look to see those a great classic matchup in that regard. You know, where the defence needs to be able to keep one eye on how the winger's going to be, and to not let themselves then get opened up and scored through the middle.
At the moment, Tigers staying compact and organising well. Sharks can't find a way through. Susanna Hudson there, ball in her hands.
So that's another penalty awarded in the middle. Dan Harrison, the on-field official at the minute.
Yeah, Dan Harrison was with us in the commentary box yesterday, giving us his insights and the life of a touch rugby referee.
Lots and lots and lots of steps, Brad, is the answer to that, yeah. I think.
Yeah, he said it was equally tough work for the referees yesterday. The weather, it was scorching hot, and just lack of concentration there. This time in the attacking phase for the Sharks, just hands the ball back to the Tigers inside their own half and looking to try and drive up the middle. Here's Kat Jones of Cambridge towards the halfway.
Really good defensive play by Susanna Hudson there on Sadie Meakin. Is that when you're looking to get fresh legs on, the important thing is to get the momentum going past the sub box, and what Zan did was to get right in Sadie's face and to push her just off the mark a little bit and slow down that Midlands attack. And it's a really good play. It allowed Sharks to regroup, and then it just took a little bit of sting out of the Tigers attack. Yeah, just in terms of with the referees, is that the players, yes, they work hard, but you're on for a couple of minutes and then off on the sub box, whereas the referees, all three of them, it's perpetual motion for 40 minutes.
Yeah, we had Greg Cropper joined us in the commentary box for the under 15 for the 15s final, and I think he was looking forward to a well-earned rest yesterday evening, as the Tigers looking to try and see if they can double their lead. Lucy Norburn in the middle. A good time at the JCTs last weekend, of course. Lucy Norburn
took the words right out of my mouth there. She was one of the key players for the girls 18s in the gold medal performance last weekend. Really, important experience. She was at the World Cup again as a teenager back in April, and so she's used that and kicked on to help the under 18s progress. And as Jen Lee, what we said earlier on in the first score, and exactly the same in the second, that we'll see in the first one it was off her right hand. This time it's off her left, and either way, it's that ability to spread the play. And as the game goes on, is that whenever she's on the field, is that the Sharks know that they need to go out and mark the winger. So in the first one it was Thea Dawson. That time it's Julia Kang. They're going to need to do that, and what that will then do is open up space through the middle to be able to exploit. So this the thing that we haven't seen from the Sharks yet is the same approach yet. They haven't really had that opportunity, but it'll be interesting to see how quickly that happens as far as the Midlands attack's concerned.
Yeah, the Sharks giving away another cheap turnover inside the Midlands Tigers half, and they certainly look up for it. Here's Julia Kang again, just having to stop in her tracks. Sadie Meakin. Lucy Snape now on the 10 metre. Again, Sadie Meakin gets it back, looks to go wide, intercepted, and this could be the opportunity for the Sharks to get one back and get a foothold back into the game. And as easy as that, well, Druts gliding through the middle and no one could stop her. And out of nothing really, the Sharks have got one back.
Yeah, the pass was going out from Sadie out towards Eleanor Pitcher, but it just died, didn't it? And good anticipation by Addie Drutt there, and just to show, and just to go back to what I was saying before about the referees, is that she's now got the chance to go off and get a bit of a breather, get some water on. The referees, having gone 70 metres, now got to turn around and go straight back again, and on they go.
Yeah, you'll see on the touch lines plenty of the helpers and volunteers and other four other referees just handing out water as well as they come flying back down the touchline. Here come the Tigers trying to rectify things in the middle. Alongside is Jenny Lee. Seems to be the instigator so far this morning. Chance maybe to go in on the line. Kate Davis-Bavin. And turnover. And the Sharks just have a chance to try and look from inside their own half. What can they do from this one? Almost just get over towards their subs box, get some fresh legs off. Lois Lau. Over the 10 metre mark. This is a bit better from the Sharks, putting really good pressure on. Fantastic run. Susanna Hudson needs the support as the half. Can she find the support? It looks like she can as the ball down. Just having a quick chat, the referees.
This is an interesting one there, because you don't need to have full possession to give it. So we just need to... So I think that score's been awarded. Yes, that score has indeed been awarded. Now you see so it's not complete control there from Emily Crow, but what you need is downward pressure, and that's exactly what she got there. Great play there by Zan Hudson. What she's got is this, she's got the instinct and the ability to go through the middle, to exploit an offside player, to go all the way through to the end of the end zone, and then to try and find a supporting runner. So a good bit of play all round there. What we've got with these two teams is you've got a couple of key playmakers on each side. So Sadie Meakin and Jenny Lee for the Tigers, and then we've mentioned Zan Hudson and Lois Lau already for the Sharks. These have been key players for their club, for the country, for the region as well. And they've both got, they're all four players really have it all in terms of the ability to pass off both hands, to get it, to keep it short, keep it wide, to run the plays for both, and as you see that when one of them's not on, the other one is, and it makes so that you get that consistency through as far as their team's attack's concerned.
Well, in a game in this first opening 15 and a half minutes that Midlands Tigers were controlling, and the Sharks from that interception are looking very likely to try and see if they can get back in front. Adeline Drutz again trying to get over the line, and this is what happens in touch rugby. It's especially these 40-minute games, it can give time for a change of momentum to a piece with 3.5 minutes to go in this first. Still all to play for as they drive towards the halfway mark. Sadie Meakin there. Here is Jenny Lee. Lucy Snape on the 10 metre mark. This is good momentum from the Tigers. But again, the Sharks covering well, and just a slight knock as Tigers player come off. Snape comes off as well. Here's Kate Davis-Bavin, so a chance now halfway between a 10 and a 5.
Yeah, that penalty was for a hard touch. I think now one of the previous attacks when I talked about Zan Hudson getting in the face of Sadie Meakin, taking all of the momentum out of Tigers' attack. This time they're able to get onto the front foot, get through past the Sharks. The Sharks were pretty passive in defence on that situation, and not only do they get into the danger zone, but then Jen Lee's able to capitalise on it. And what's happened there, although the touch has been made by, I'm not quite sure who made the touch, who made the attempted touch for the Sharks there. I think it was Rebecca McLaren, was that she hadn't made the line. So what happened is that Jenny attacked the line whereby the defender was retreating and then stepped off. The defender can't come with her because then that's deviation. Didn't make the line anyway, so Jenny dived at the feet and scored before it went back. So it was a good score there given by the referees.
And it was something we talked about with Dan Harrison, one of the referees, about the communication that the refs and the players have throughout the game. And it depends on the style of the referee, but a lot of them really talk through, don't they, most of the time?
If there are any throat lozenge manufacturers who would like to get involved with England Touch, then we'd be more than welcome to talk to you, because by the end of even a one-day tournament, you're a little hoarse. By the end of the 3-day tournament is that you then can't talk. Because it is all about that. It's all about communication, and that's both in terms of trying to get the game flow, trying to get a bit of game management going as a referee, but also, you're out there to have a bit of fun and a good bit of banter as well. So it is just basically, it's a whole running commentary, because you're talking to the players, calling them back on side, telling them when they're on, when they're off, talking to the on-field, and a lot of the time, it does increase the volume of your voice as well. I've been a referee for a little bit as well, and within the first, I think it was after my first year, I had a loud voice anyways. So Jenny Lee just tries to get the ball wide again. Lovely touch there in defence, but after that first year, is that my loud voice became a positive megaphone.
So into the final minute, Lucy Snape looking to try and get over the line. Referee saying the touch. This should be a big change in momentum if the Tigers can get another one before the break and get that 2-point gap. It's been going toe for toe. Space opening up, covering defence, doing really well to spread themselves. And they win the turnover as well. That's important just before the break.
It is, but what we've started to see is the Sharks' defence is now covering the wing. So they're anticipating that when Jenny, or indeed Sadie, but when they're winding up for the long pass, is to get ready to go. But that all of a sudden is leaving the gap in the midfield, which was, as Sharks are going to go and tie things up right before half-time by the looks of it. That's been given. Lovely finish there, I think, is that Lois? Yeah, it is, Lois Lau. Just a lovely show and go there from Lois. And diving in, I think it's it's definitely, it's not as soft as it was yesterday. The dews come off the pitch already. But a lovely finish from here. But just to go back to the Sharks' defence, and what I think we'll see in the second half is Tigers starting to go through the middle, because although they're now defending out wide, it's those gaps between the defenders, which were say 3 or 4 metres, now going to be 5 or 6, and that's when you've got players like Jenny Lee, like Kate Davis-Bavin, people like that through the middle. They're going to be able to exploit that.
Well, a score just on the hooter for Lois Lau, and we are tied up at 3 apiece. She's just limping off there. The ground surface is very hard. We saw it actually at the end of the day. It's a lot of dust coming up from the ground. We saw the morning dew sort of wear out after the first hour. And it is a very hard surface out there, isn't it, Chris?
It is, yeah. I mean, there's quite a lot of grass, and I think that the amount of rain that we've had over the course of the summer so far is helping. I mean, remember scoping out the grounds on a site visit about 14 months ago before the 2018 Nationals, and it was absolutely bone dry. You remember the summer that we had last year? I mean, it was a proper spinner's track last year, whereas this time there's still a little bit of nip in it, and a little bit of bounce. But at the same point, like we said, is that yesterday it was high 20s, and today's going to be the same, and it's we'll have a nice mist on here tomorrow morning, but it'll quickly go, and what that'll do is that means that the diving game, what we were talking about in Paris last week is that as the rain came on, is that the diving game started to come into its own because people could slide in from further out. And if you watch back at the girls 18s final against Wales, is that and there's a sequence on the highlights package which before England scored is there's about 3 or 4 goes where they're diving in and diving in and diving in, and eventually it comes off. That then becomes less and less prominent when as the pitches dry out. So, and you're going to need to be very brave as well. And I think there'll be quite a few grazed knees, and the medical tent may be being visited for some bandages as the weekend goes on.
Absolutely. Well, at the break then, we are locked at 3 apiece between the South East Sharks and the Midland Tigers. What a great start to the morning. We'll be back in a couple of minutes' time for the second 20. So we're just moments away then from the start of the second half here in Cambridgeshire. The Touch Nationals, Juniors and Opens. And what an opening 20 minutes of day 2 we have had. It's 3 apiece between the South East Sharks and the Midlands Tigers. And joined by myself, Brad Hope, and Chris Waremouth for this one. And we have 11 games in total for you today, and there's plenty to get your teeth into. Some really good matchups, some fascinating games actually today.
You look at yesterday, and the South East Taipans in the women's, were 3-0, and and had some big wins. But the Sharks and the Tigers, were both 2 wins and 1 loss, and it shows that although when you've got a couple of teams that may be dominating, is that there's a lot of equal teams out there, and this is reflected by the England talent on show, by the clubs that they represent. So I mean, Sadie Meek and Kate Davis-Bavin were all in the Nottingham team, which had their highest ever finish in the Belief Elite National Touch Series, and Zan Hudson is one of the key playmakers for London Scorpions, who won or co-won as Tigers go through for another score. Do they? Yeah, that's another score given by the Tigers. A great way to open the second half. So they were joint winners of the men's and women's, so the women's single gender, and Lois Lau for CSSE, who've come on in leaps and bounds as the London Eagles this year. So we've had the most competitive club season ever. The England training squads are larger. The talent pool is stronger, and and then we're starting to see that reflected in how close some of these games are as well.
Yes, if you did join us for the Belief Elite National Touch Series, Bareback Riders, commonly known as BBR, one of the stronger outfits, and they didn't even reach the Elite Cup final in our final one in Oxford. It was Nottingham Hoods against Hot Custard, which was the final that time around. So just showing that all these sides, these club sides, are just getting stronger and stronger, making it even more competitive as the Sharks are looking to try and respond straight away down the other end. And we've seen closed out. So good start defensively and attacking wise from the Tigers, although the Sharks still have possession. Here's Hudson just having to take a few steps back, just thinking about what the plan is. Kate Davis-Bavin up early, putting the pressure on. Hudson getting to the 5 metre. Tigers just swarming around, almost almost like tiger-like impressions as well, trying to push them back, and they do retrieve possession. Here's Kate Davis-Bavin.
Yeah, they're getting their paws out in defence there, that's for sure. You know, it was Sharks were trying to set something up. You know, you just you use a couple of touches to go through, as we see. Great breakthrough from the Tigers, number 14. That's Tamara Slater from Cambridge, from just up the road. There's a bit of a chat. I think the call was that the link was offside, and the play. So there's, in terms of that communication, you know, as referee Jean McDonald is saying to the defender Julia Unsworth, you know, she's asking the question, did I make the touch, sir? And he's saying, no, you know, this play on, you know, you're offside, carry on. And, you know, great awareness there from the Tigers to carry on playing, to not look for the touch. And that communication we were talking about before in terms of the referees comes to the fore. It's something that you don't see an awful lot, actually, in touch in terms of long-range scores. You know, a lot of it's built up around, you know, 5, 10, 15 metres out.
Here come the Sharks then, needing to respond. They've just been hit with a sucker punch of 2 scores in around about 2 minutes, and Sharks needing to respond. And normally Lois Lau is one of the key instigators in that. And Hudson trying to break through. Oh, a turnover, and a crucial turnover for the Tigers. They might be able to just have a quick breather and go again. Here's Emma Oliver, Lucy Norburn, Kat Jones. Of course, Norburn and Jones linking up from Cambridge. Quick hand, Sadie Meakin out to this near hand side, although turnover inside the Tigers half of the Sharks, and these are the opportunities that they would look to try and capitalise on.
Absolutely. Bronte Sykes just about to restart for the Sharks. You know, just in terms of the club side, you know, the Lucy Norburn and Emma Oliver, both from the Nottingham club, and the good thing is that, and as you saw yesterday, you know, with the 2 Midlands teams making the final in the under-15s, is that how much youth touch is growing here in this part of the world, which is really, you know, it's a fantastic thing to see. And there's a lot of hard work being done in Nottingham and Cambridge and Peterborough and Norwich to bring through the next generation, and those numbers are just growing all the time.
And we will have the seniors and masters in Nottingham over the weekend of the 14th and 15th of September, coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Emily Irons trying to go over this time through the middle, just space slightly opening up.
This is the bit where the Tigers can defend tight, because, you know, the Sharks in the minute don't have that ability to go wide through the middle. So it's all just, so you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Tigers all within shot. And, you know, that just makes it, that amount of traffic is extraordinarily difficult for the Sharks to break down, as happened just then.
Here comes Sadie Meakin. Now over the own 10-metre mark they go. Jones. Jenny Lee. Good yards. This is a really nice momentum build up by the Tigers. Can they try and work something now? Being told to come back. The touch came in. Tamara Slater, number 14 for the Tigers. Pass out wide, and it's good covering defence. Victoria Chu on this near side wing.
Yeah, great defence there from Tamara Slater, really getting in the face. All of a sudden, second touch, and the Sharks haven't even cleared their 10-metre line. So they're only going to have a couple of touches to play with in the, you know, so fourth coming now, fifth touch probably on the halfway line, give or take, and then all of a sudden the Sharks have got now Tamara Slater saying that there wasn't a touch there, that the ball was voluntarily played by Emily Crow, and that's been given by Greg Kropp, who's officiating in the middle. You have to make the touch before you play the ball. So although it was very, very close, there was, you know, we could see the space on the camera between Tamara Slater and Emily Crow, and as a result, it's a turnover. So really good defensive set for by the Tigers. I mean, even if that touch had been made, you know, Sharks have given themselves a massive amount to do, and having to make a play on the final touch, 35, 40 metres out from the goal line, which is just far too much against a defensive team that's as good as this Tigers setup.
Now the Midlands Tigers looking to try and attack themselves after good defensive work.
But Sharks have conceded a penalty, I think, for deviation, which is just, I mentioned it earlier on, but the law is that when you make the touch, is that as soon as you start off down a direction, you have to keep going back in that direction before for the full 5 meters. And if you come off that, then that's deviation. So what that then does is that creates space to be exploited.
Midlands Tigers looking for an opening. Sadie Meekins just in your pictures alongside Kat Jones in the middle. Sadie Meekin, Kat Jones is there. A touch does come in. Nick of time, Kat Jones. Got a long reach, trying to get the ball down in time. Sadie Meekin flinging the ball out to the left. It just dies in front of Emma Oliver and it's turned over.
So I said in the first half that the that Tigers had been spreading the play and then might be looking to go more through the middle in the second half, and that's exactly what they've tried to do. It's come off once, they've had the long range one that time, Sharks defend it well, but all of a sudden now that's going to have the Sharks then defending tighter, which means they can go wider again.
Space not opening up in the middle, good defence from the Tigers, and they get the turnover. At the moment, the Midlands Tigers are being very resolute in defence. Kat Jones is there in the middle, Lucy Norburn. Quick hands, and it's spreading it right to left, really trying to stretch this defence early on. Lucy Norburn up into the halfway.
Tigers have got away with one there. You can see a boot on the whitewash just as the ball was being played and wasn't spotted by the official. Obviously, there's a lot of traffic there as the sub moves are being run, and as the referee, you're trying to trying to keep an eye on everything in that situation. The numbers of players on the field at any one time, you're trying to stay out of the way, you're trying to get into the right position. So it's understandable that something like that doesn't get spotted. I mean, it was only a couple of studs, but what we've seen over the past, we saw all of a sudden the Sharks are now getting a good roll on in terms of their momentum. It's a decent attack early doors, the previous one, and we're doing that again, and that's realistically is how the Sharks are going to get through this Tigers defence. And Addie Drutt's gone through again through some classic hands, lovely hands out of the just ahead of the contact there. Oh, what a lovely dummy! All of a sudden, that is an absolutely glorious dummy there from Julia Unsworth, and just to hold it, and all of a sudden, as soon as she realised that the pass wasn't on, then back it comes under the arm, and all of a sudden they're away. And a breakdown of the Tigers' defence, but a lovely piece of attacking play there.
Yeah,
but that's how the Sharks are going to win this game. They've just need to run hard and just don't do anything too flash. And once you get the defence scrambling, then all of a sudden those opportunities will appear. I think for the Tigers, they want to keep it a lot more structured to create the opportunities for somebody like Sadie Meekin or Jenny Lee to get the ball wide and to create the scores for the wingers. But as I say, the Sharks are going to be all about the drive, all about the momentum and getting onto the front foot from here on in, I think.
Yeah, it's given them a good platform, and now they've got the turnover as well. So bit of a change in momentum potentially now going into the final 10 minutes, and the Sharks will look to try and build some early drives, although this defence from the Midlands Tigers, and there we go. Is that just the pressure that they know potentially could be coming from the Midlands Tigers early? They're up and at them all the time.
I think that's just one of those things on that one. Susanna Hudson making a mistake, and that's uncharacteristic from her. I think it's sometimes it's a thing of trying to anticipate what you're going to do with the ball before you get it, and then if the ball's just slightly out of the breadbasket, it's then it's liable to hit the ground. I think and that's a disappointing one there from Emma Oliver. No, sorry, not Emma Oliver. Slightly disappointing regardless, just in terms of the attacking situation, because Tigers need to, as I say, just need to keep things structured and to take the sting out of the momentum which the Sharks are starting to build up.
Yeah, 8.5 minutes to go, and the Sharks have got their tails up at the moment. Oh, lovely inside pass. This is nice from the Sharks, looking to try and finish it off. Can they? No, they can't turn over. It just died in front of Erin Payton.
But that's how the Sharks are going to win this game. You know, they're not doing anything. You know, it's going to be the short passing, the stretching the play, just to create that the dog legs, the confusion in the Tigers' defence, because that has been so well structured so far.
Just toying with the defence, and maybe an opportunity now for the Tigers. 7.5 minutes remaining. Sadie Meakin.
This is exactly what they wanted. Tigers now. There was a lovely bit of attacking play there, and a good wide pass from Eleanor Pitcher, and Sharks scrambling were then offside.
Lucy Snape trying to weave on through, and they get it as well, the Tigers. Let's have another look at this one.
Yeah, we saw in the first half the same thing happen, and this time it's Emily Crowe's on the back foot. Now you can see right there that she's not made the line. You know, there's, she's asking the question of Dan Harrison, but, you know, that's absolutely crystal that, you know, she was a good 6 inches in front of the line, doesn't make it back, she's offside. Lucy Snape is too experienced, and we saw the same thing happen in the first half, and that extends the Tigers' lead to 2.
Yeah, it certainly does, and gives them a platform to try and build on. And the Sharks, again, having to do all the work to try and get back into this, although there is some space opening it wide, a bit too slow as it goes back in for Lois Lau. Hudson again, space potentially opening up, needs that support. Lois Lau is there, trying to get it down as quickly as possible. Touch comes in, crucial touch.
What we saw there, just quickly in defence, is that there'd have been a call called mirrors in the defence. So if the scooper goes through to the end zone, she's the half, she can't score, so you just leave her be, and your job then is to defend the supporting runners.
Oh, lots of space now over on that far side.
Not given though. It's a touch and pass, late pass. And we'll see just, yeah, so that pass, so good defence by Thea Dawson on Lois Lau there. You know, she's shut in, she's made the touch just before Lois winds up. It's one of those things where you can see sometimes those not be given if the ball's on its way out, is that'll just be said pass, play on, but good defence from the youngster on Lois Lau. We're just going to see that's a heavy touch there on Jenny Lee, so some good play there by the Tigers all round. But just to go back, so it's the good defensive structure, that's really, really well drilled. You know, so you just, as I said before, you just completely ignore the person who's got the ball because they can't score. So just find your person and then try and stay with them the whole way. So it's not a zone defence, it's a player on player. And then touch Daddy drop there at the other end. That was crucial there for Tigers because now they've gone up to 2 again. They just need that breathing space.
Potentially another score could finish the game off. Just a lofted pass into the middle. A turnover now for the Sharks on their own 5 metre. But look at this high line defence from the Tigers again, really trying to put the pressure on early. Although the Sharks work it well over to that far side. Fresh legs on. Bit of momentum building on the halfway. They're a bit late onto the pass, and Tigers can try and reset. Space opening up in the middle. Can they fling it out left? They can't. Happy to go right. Maybe a bit of confusion. This Tigers defence going through the middle. Emily
Crowe there on the score. That's all created by that momentum and getting past the sub box in their own half. All of that, and then the scrambling defence, and you know, and then to have the 5th touch on the 5 metre line is exactly where you want it when you're having that kind of momentum. And I think there was that little bit of a breakdown. I think they thought it was a 6th touch there for a split second, but it wasn't. It was only the 5th. But that's all created by the pace they got, because they started that play 10 metres out from their own half, that attack. You know, so they've gone the full length of the field in that set of 6. And but the fact that it was getting 2nd touch past the halfway line and giving themselves plenty of space to play with.
So the Tigers now put under pressure again. 3.5 minutes remaining, and the turnover as well for the South East Sharks. And they're just giving themselves a second just to reset. Still time to get back level and potentially even win it. Although, as soon as commentator's curse coming into full effect.
Yeah, that was a mistake at the play the ball there by by the Sharks, and that's criminal at this stage. You know, they would just say they've scored their previous one from a massive amount of momentum, and then all of a sudden they've given the Tigers playmakers the opportunity to build up that structure to they're trying to do things through the middle, keeping it tight for the time being. But now with Jenny Leon, they've got the ability to go keep it tight or to go wide, and Sharks are going to be guessing with what's going to be coming. Good defence there coming in from the Sharks, number 6, Julia Unsworth, Galaxy London, just anticipating the danger before it's coming up and then coming in. It's a fresh set of 6, so there's no such thing as a deliberate play at the ball in defence. There's no slap down, so it's just a straight restart, not a penalty.
Lucy Orban on the edge of the 5 metre, good momentum building, pass out wide. 5th touch, is it, or what's the referee? Looking like they're going to confirm the score, are they?
Yes, they are. Great finish by Julia Kang there. It's a lovely. We're just having a bit of a chat. Actually, no, it's not a score. I think they're giving that as a loss of control there. That's one of those ones which is an inch from glory. It's a great pass there by Jen Lee to Julia out in the width, and even though it was dying, it's the thing where we saw earlier on in the first half where you don't need the full control, you just need the downward pressure, and that came so nearly close to coming off there, but just hit the ground before Julia Kang could ground it.
There we go, another loss of control and turned over for the Tigers. How crucial could that be?
So second touch now just on halfway. Good bit of game management coming in now by Tigers, with a minute to play.
Sadie Meakin linking it up, but referee's just having a deliberation. This could be last chance saloon for the South East Sharks.
Yeah, that was a forward pass there by the Tigers. We saw it on the halfway line, just drifted 6 inches forward, but that's enough to be given. But at 40 seconds to go on the unofficial timer, Sharks just go for it, just drive in this situation.
Lois Lau needing options, a bit static at the moment. There's Irons spread out to this left hand side. Touch comes in. Good defensive work by the Tigers.
Game comes down to this, Brad.
Absolutely, this is what a start to the morning. And there we go, and the Tigers, according to our clock, and there goes the hooter. And there is the final touch, and by the skin of their teeth, the Midlands Tigers take the victory by 6 points to 5. What a brilliant game. The Sharks pushed them all the way, and they could have snuck the draw at the very last. But 2 good sides, packed full of talent, have given us a great start to day 2.
Yeah, it's a fascinating game. It's the right result in the end, and I think the right margin as well. I think we saw the structure and the ability from the Tigers to spread the play, and Sharks just didn't really get going in that first 20 minutes. There were points where they were absolutely cooking in the second half when they got their drive going, and we saw it pay dividends with a couple of scores, but by then it was a little bit too late. They'd left themselves a little bit too much to do. So a good win for the Tigers, and which moves them to 3-1, and the Sharks are still very much in contention because there's knockout games tomorrow, which is when it all matters, but I think they'll be working on a few things over the course of the next day or so.
Well, a cracking start to day 2 then here in St Ives, and we'll swiftly move on to our second game of the day, which will come from the mixed competition, and we'll see the Midland Tigers in action again as they take on the North East Raiders. That'll be coming up next.
wait to approach midfield, 2-minute warning. Official, 1 minute. On your field, ready to play.
Yeah. You good? Sorry, I'm going to move that. Keep thinking.
Players and officials, please stand by.
Yes!
Touch five, last.
This is last. Moving up.
This way,
Back in.
So we're back underway here in Cambridgeshire in St Ives. The Touch Nationals Juniors and Opens. And we see Midlands Tigers taking on the North East Raiders this morning. And both sides looking to try and get their first wins of the day. So Midlands Tigers and the North East Raiders, both sides packed with talent. And the Tigers looking to try and get off to the perfect start.
Just let it go. It's all good.
So a couple of minutes into this second game of the day, and joining myself, Brad Hope, I have the Tigers coach from the women's, Sue Ellen Goody, and of course we've just seen you in action on pitch number one, our first game of the day, in a very good victory over the Sharks this morning. You must be delighted.
Yeah, absolutely delighted. Really proud of those girls. They really worked hard, stuck to the game plan.
Yeah.
and they earned the right to win that game. So really, really pleased with them. If we face them again, it's going to be tougher again. So we've just got to take it as a nice little victory for today and then move forward to the next game.
Yeah, it was all square at half time. What did you say to the girls then at 3 apiece?
I said that we'd scored some really good touchdowns off some really great transitions and drives and set-up plays, and that unfortunately we let some easy touchdowns in. So to me, we were playing the better structured game, and that we needed to keep going forward, keep doing that. And we always talk about the grind and the 20 minutes. How much do you want it? Yep. And obviously the girls really wanted it, so really pleased.
Yeah, and the conditions, of course. Yesterday it was sweltering hot, and today it's looking like it's going to be the same. How are the girls feeling after yesterday?
Yeah, I think third game yesterday was tough going. Yeah. It was a game that I always anticipated that we should win because we're more experienced than the team we played. But they played really well, and in the heat it was hard for the girls. And they did get a little lecture from the coach about hydration at the end of the day.
And as the Midlands Tigers now in the mixed, looking to try and get the opening score. And they've done just that. Well, a lovely run through the middle, mazy little run.
Yeah, nice little bit of footwork there, a little bit of a shimmy through. And luckily had the backup coming through to offload.
Yeah, Georgia Spackman there for the Midlands Tigers finishing off the move. And the Tigers one up inside the opening 5 minutes.
Yeah, the mixed Tigers, fairly inexperienced team actually. Come together for the tournament, only had a few sessions together, so they're learning a great deal just by being here, which is fantastic.
Yeah, real mixture of ages in this team. I'm looking down the squad, likes of William Murphy, Harry Missing, both 15 years of age. You know, Harry was out in the at the JCTs last weekend in Paris.
Yeah, I think our region prides ourselves on our juniors. Like, we really push the junior coaching and getting the kids out there and then getting them into the open squads to get that exposure because it's the only way to take them further. And we've got a lot of juniors. I know the Midlands Women's Open, we've got 7 under-20s in the squad who are learning a great deal and really stepping up, which is great. But it's across the board, men's, mixed, the works.
Well, I know one of your players, of course, Lucy Norburn, was there at the JCTs last week. He was captaining the side as well, so must be delighted for her.
Yeah, gosh, those girls did well. We, all of us oldies were watching the live stream and constantly messaging the group about how well they were doing. It was just so happy to see them do so well over there. They were so pleased with the efforts. And Wales is a tough side, so they did really, really well. Yeah,
it was a bit of a theme last weekend, the England-Wales fixtures. We had 3 back-to-back in the end.
I know, Wales must not be too happy, though. We took a bit of a clean sweep, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
But go England.
Absolutely, yeah. Great weekend in total for England at the JCTs last weekend as the North East Raiders looking to try and get back into this one. Just lost the control just on the edge of the 5 metre. Just a good pressure from the Tigers in the end.
Yeah, just going a bit too much into the 5. If they set up a little bit further away, those Midland players will have to make the line, and they just get a bit more space to work with, a chance to get that pass away. But the North East, I'm not sure how experienced they are either. So I'm sure they're learning a lot this tournament as well.
Yeah, it's a big talking point throughout the summer and this weekend, and of course with the JCTs last weekend in Paris. It's just the incredible amount of youth players coming through. The Tigers just couldn't get in on the corner. That's very unlucky.
Such a shame. Ash just went outside.
Just ran out of space. And but yeah, it must be just great to see so many youngsters coming through. And as a coach, I'm sure it's great to have that, seeing all this young talent coming through as well. Yeah,
well, this is my first spell as a coach. So I sort of player coached the Women's 35s last year, but I've stepped back and decided to coach this year. So it's great to see people coming through, and that the open squads are predominantly youngsters or people in their 20s. It's no longer the group that was, I suppose you could say.
How's that transition been then, coming from a player to a coach? How have you found that?
Very frustrating. When you're at a touch tournament all weekend and you're not playing any touch, it's incredibly frustrating. But then you have games like this morning and it's so rewarding. the girls playing like that just makes my job worthwhile.
Yeah.
So yeah, highs and lows, just like a player, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, the Tigers still hold this 1 point advantage, looking to drive through the middle. Some space potentially opening up, although the Raiders trying to put the squeeze on, and they've got the turnover on the halfway. So good opportunity.
Yeah, just a bit of a fumble in the middle there, which is a shame. It's not a great thing to turn over midfield. Gives them a good attack, but let's see if they can D it out. They just need to keep those comms up, keep watching that ball.
Oh, what a slip, and something we haven't been accustomed to, especially this morning. We were talking on commentary for the first game about the pitch. Of course, with the weather we've had, is it quite dry, quite hard underfoot?
It is, but this morning it was a bit dewy as well. So to start with, the ball was a bit wet and it was a bit sort of slippy down near the lines when the girls were trying to set up different plays. But I think by now it's all dried out. Yeah. We've had a bit of rain lately in Cambridge though, so it shouldn't be horrendously dry. So it's still pretty good conditions and they're still pretty good pitches. Still holding up for tomorrow's finals.
Yeah, they certainly look, the pitch is in immaculate condition actually, almost like they've just been spray painted green.
Yeah, I'm keen to ask Greg Cropper to hold all NTS here at St Ives. Be very convenient for myself.
I was about to say, it's not too far away, is it?
And
of course.
Quality pitches.
Actually, just a quick question about, me and Chris were just talking there for the first game about the defensive work that the Tigers decided putting. It seemed like they were really putting the pressure on early. Was that something you were trying to work on? Yeah,
so with my girls, fitness is quite key because I want them to work constantly. And if we can take away the thinking time of the players with the ball, then that's going to bode really well for us. So the more time you have to think, I know as a player, if I've got time to take a couple of steps, look, throw a nice long pass, then that's great. But if a defender is up in my face, ready to make that touch, it causes mistakes. And you saw that happen both sides. So when we pushed up on Sharks, they fumbled the ball a lot. But when they pushed up on us, we often did some not so great passes, and we lost possession there. So that pressure is really important. If you're not a fit side, you're not able to get up, then, it makes it easy on the attack.
Well, the North East Raiders looking to try and attack themselves down this near side, and just having a look at this almost scattered defence from the Midlands Tigers, just trying to keep themselves compact.
Yeah, they need to come forward and take that space, cut down the opportunities for North East.
And Jim Williams in the middle, just popping the pass off. And
yeah, good support there by the link.
Williams again.
North East looking like they're trying to set up a move. Going for the scoop and long, but can't quite get it there. I think it was probably covered by the Midlands winger there.
And in terms of dynamic of a coach trying to put these players together, of course, they're coming from different clubs. What's that like? I know there's obviously players that have played together, of course. So is there you just look at those little partnerships and try and work things out that way?
Yeah, you've got to look at the team dynamics and who plays well with other people, but also what do they bring to the team. And when I look at the team and look at the players, because it's an opens category, I think if I've got this pool of players, of the youngsters, do they bring the same thing to the team as some of the older players? Because in which case I'll take those youngsters. So yeah, I know a lot of players from Cambridge and Nottingham, and we sort of combined forces for the men's and women's NTS as well to try and get people together to see what worked. And that was really beneficial, which was great. So I'd be interested to see next year if some other clubs do the same rather than just having their club, whether they get some region teams together to compete in those NTSs to get the exposure, because that's really helped us. But yeah, getting the team together, they've all got to bring something to the table, whether that's in defence, whether that's their communication, whether that's experience, whether that's specialty moves like quickies and things. So in our team, we have so much diversity that if something's not working, we have other things to go to constantly, which is really nice. It's a really lucky position for me to be in, to have so many talented players.
Midlands Tigers looking and searching for this second score. Only the 1 point in this first half.
Yeah, neither team seemed to have a definite move on the line. There seems to be lots of talk, but let's see what the Midland Tigers do here, because that's a link coming across. And they've gone back to the other side. So they just need to identify those players who are quite keen coming up and seeing if they can work something off those players who are putting themselves quite high.
And from a coach's point of view, Sir Ellen, are you still coaching the players, or is it more just the tactics side and maybe just game management in terms, or are you actually physically coaching the players as well?
Coaching at training. But here, there's not much more you can do once you're here. I think there's little tweaks. So there's little things we went over this morning to help our game be more effective. Little tweaks for individuals. I might pull people aside and say, I'd like you to do this instead of this. Or some of it, a lot of it is confidence. So some of the girls, I need to tell them to back themselves and encourage them that they are fast if they're going to go on the scoop or they're going to go on the shorts, or and that they really need to take it on. But at this stage, it really is game management, making sure you've got the right players on in the right positions, that you're seeing things from the box and you're able to call that for the next people going on. And that's just not attack, that's defence, that's, subbing off, those sorts of things, the transition. The girls know the game plans that we have and they know how to run those game plans. I just have to call them and identify when the right time is. But the girls are very good. I'm leaving it a bit open to them that they make their own calls for some of it as well. It's better for me not to tell them what to do. It's better for them to be able to make that decision on the pitch or before they go on.
I'm guessing that's sort of all part of their development and learning when you've got these young players coming through. I know you mentioned the likes of Lucy Norburn, and it must be great to see that they're taking control and thinking what should we be doing as a team. Yeah, no, and Lucy was great at JTC taking control of that pitch. I watched her and Emma Oliver as well. Phoebe Simons played in that Sharks game this morning and played brilliantly in defence, and she's only 14. So, and a lot of coaches may not take on a 14-year-old in the open category, but I find her quite exceptional for her age, and this exposure means that she's able to step up already, and she will be a contender perhaps for the next World Cup in the women's open side. So the youngsters, just building their confidence to make those calls and make those decisions. You still get the emotional side. They're still youngsters, so we have lots of things going on in our squad to help the youngsters, the oldies helping the youngsters. So it's funny team dynamics that you have to think about as well, off the pitch as well as on the pitch. Yeah, it's something that maybe people sometimes forget. It isn't, of course, just always on the pitch. It's the dynamic outside the field. These long weekends where you're spending a lot of time with the team, of course. And do you find that you're trying to sort of pair people up, or is it just natural really that they just sort of? We have a buddy system, but that's more for timings, so that people are on time. We've got a few shoppers in the group, especially these early hydration actually. So they're making sure that each other are always hydrated and drink lots of water, and especially the youngsters, that they are drinking enough and eating enough. A lot of the time, we found this out at Malaysia, that although people thought they were well hydrated and they're having their isotonics, they weren't eating enough food, is what I saw from actually the men's team and some of the senior men's teams, that they were going down because they weren't eating. They didn't feel like eating because it was too hot, but you have to eat in these conditions. Get yourself in the shade, get cooled down, and get some food on board. Well, the Midlands Tigers are into a 2-0 lead. It was a nice little scoop through, wasn't it? Lovely piece of play. And feels like the Tigers have been. It's actually not been a game where feels like both sets of players have really gone gun-ho, but the Tigers have just feels like they've edged it so far. I think, the Tigers have managed to convert. They're also defending quite well on the line there. They do need to go a little bit further up rather than sideways first, but apart from that, they seem to be holding them out. Let's see their drive. Let's see if they can get themselves off nice and swiftly. Yeah, going over there in 10 metre. good speed in this attack up towards halfway. Good momentum building up over the Raiders' 10 metres. Still some space to work into as well.
That's key. If you can keep that momentum going, it just puts your team in such a better position when you get to that line. It's when, if you're stopped by defenders, it becomes very tricky.
Is that something you work on, not with your side as well, but in terms of the Midlands Tigers sweeping from the subs box, keeping that momentum going? Because it can be easy, hard sometimes to really keep the momentum when you're trying to get the fresh legs on, I guess.
Yeah, as long as it all has to start with the players getting off.
Yep.
If they work really hard to get off and get some momentum, even just a little bit, then that puts us in a better position. It puts us in a better position to sweep on. If they can get us to somewhere around the halfway on that third touch, then we've got things we can do. When we don't quite make it to halfway, you've got to do some other things, I guess. So it really starts, and this is what we found yesterday. We're a bit slow to start, and I spoke to my girls about that first drive. Even if you're not making that many yards, you still have to go hard, because then you start to get the defence on the back foot and at least make some space for yourselves. And just playing a bit of heads up as well. They're going to have shooters, they're going to get in your face. Some you absorb, some you pass around, and it's just, that's where the experience comes in for some of the players, where they know that they can draw and pass and others may not see it coming. So yeah, momentum is key, but it starts with that drive off, I find.
So just seconds remaining of this first 20, and the Midlands Tigers currently 2 points to the good, and looking good to try and keep hold of that until the hooter goes. It should be only seconds away, and there it is. Final phase then for the Raiders.
Do make the touch. Oh, good. Something we didn't do at half-time. We did not make that touch to make it even.
Well, the touch just comes in a nick of time. It looked like the Raiders were just about to head towards the line. But at the break, it is the Midlands Tigers who lead by 2 points to nil after the opening 20 minutes. Myself, Brad Hope and Sue Ellen Goody will be joining you for the second 20 minutes in a couple of moments' time.
Well, first and foremost is we want to give everybody a game, so we are an inclusive club, and we will search out opportunities where everybody who wants to play representative touch for the club can do. So that comes from those down to, I think our youngest player has been 11 this last season, up to, dare I say, Hobbo, I think he's 57 now. And that's what we are about, we're an inclusive club. But within that, we also want to be a club that wants to get better, wants to improve, wants to win things. And for us, trying to grow the top level of our club and getting better and growing our performances is also just as important.
No, it's good. Just shows how touch can be played by everyone.
Yeah.
I think it's a good selling point for the sporters in general.
Yeah, because I can learn more from him than other people because he knows what I'm like.
It's a facility for all ages to play touch rugby. As you can see with our training, that we've got kids from sort of 9 and 10 up to me, who's quite old, over 50.
Representing Nottingham with England is great because the Euros were held here as well, so we had a really good support as well for my first Euros campaign.
I think it's been a part of our strategy, part of our plan, and we see the future. We want to get better as a club. To do that, we need to bring youth in to shift as oldies further down the line. I think it's also the fact that as some of the older players bring their families down, children, there's 3 or 4 of us here tonight with children, the strategy's also been really targeting schools, junior clubs around here. The summer league that runs each year now gets 100 plus under 15s in.
Well, we did something at school for it and then we enjoyed it, so we decided to carry on.
We have a coaching setup here, I think 16 level 1, sort of at the intermediate level coaches.
What a good defender is going to do is come out and just run straight at them if they're going to front you up and they're going to stop you. If he just comes straight at me, we get underneath him, slow down the roll ball, he's either going to turn the ball over, drop it, or the ball's going to be slowed down so that the half can't get in.
And in addition to that, we've probably got another half dozen who are in the England frame who help out, and you'll see that tonight. Everybody's prepared to put their hand up and help, so it's not just about taking from the club, it's about giving back, which is fantastic. You'll see the mixing between adults and juniors. For me, from a junior perspective, that's one of the key things that we've done, is rather than separating out junior training every week, we try and mix it in where we can. And what you see from the juniors particularly is just they're growing in confidence and having to deal with players that are probably much more their senior in age and experience, and that's great for their own personal development as well as their physical development.
Helps us learn new skills and improve during the game.
Everyone gets integrated together, all different levels, lots of coaching and advice.
And it's just a great spirit down here. That's why I like coming down. We have a laugh. Although we take training seriously, there's always somebody to have a laugh and a chuckle with and enjoy it.
I think for me, probably I would focus the game on getting as many children coming down over the summer as you can. From a point of view of growing the sport, bringing as many children down with their parents and getting an all-inclusive, fun environment that anybody can have a go in. And focus on that, of building the baseline of as many players as you can. Don't worry about trying to go through the ranks and put the best team out there. I think build from the base upwards, which is how we started 5, 6, 7 years ago. And as a result of that, we're slowly chipping away at getting up the ranks.
This is
Nottingham.
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 30 seconds, please make sure you're on your pitches, ready to play. 30-second warning. Players and officials, stand by.
So back underway here in Cambridgeshire for the second 20 minutes of our second game of the day. Midlands Tigers taking on North East Raiders. And you're joined by myself, Bradley Hope, and Sir Ellen Goody, the Women's Tigers coach. And I saw at half time you were getting a few tips and having a bit of advice between the coaches, and Ben Powell, he's joined us in the commentary box a couple of times. Always good for a bit of knowledge, isn't he, Ben?
Oh, absolutely, and I've got massive shoes to fill because he was the Tigers Women's Open coach last year and the year before, and 2 years ago we won it. So it's it's a challenge to step into those shoes. Ben's a really experienced coach, so it's really good to get his feedback because he's one of those people who sees things before they happen. He sees what the players are going to do, who is best suited to what role, and why. And as a player, you can see it when he plays, that he will actually look people in the eye, look the defenders in the eye before he makes a decision. He's just so confident on pitch. I definitely pick his brain quite often.
Well, at the moment, it's the Tigers in this mixed competition at the moment, leading by 2 points to 0 against the North East Raiders in a game that's been both sides defended relatively well, and Tigers now with the opportunity inside their own half. Bit of sloppy play from the Raiders and looking to try and work something from inside their own half. Here's the young Harry Missing, who of course was involved at the JCTs last weekend. Another one of these youngsters. We can just go on forever and ever about how many youngsters are coming through the England touch setup.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it's fatigue, the heat, or just miscommunication there with North East dropping the ball there. Seemed to not be sure what they wanted to run. Oh, unlucky Lou Rickard there, just taking a bit of a tumble. I think she might have been in if she didn't have that happen.
Yeah, saw the space opening up in front of her, and the line went a mercy. Oh, a little netball pass over. Bit of space now having to work to the right-hand side. Here's Rickard again.
Yeah, still a bit slippery down there by the looks of it, with Lou going down twice there. Not bad play by the Tigers, but if they could play it with a little more intensity, they'll have a better chance of getting across that line. especially because North East, I think, are looking a little bit fatigued. So they really need to capitalise on that. They are pushing in defence, but only pushing one person in defence, which is quite tough going for that person that is on their own.
Yeah, really.
I like to say to my girls that we always hunt in packs. We don't hunt on our own. It's too easy to get round, and it's such hard work for the person that's up there. But they're holding North East into the half, so...
Yeah, that early pressure looking like it's paid dividends slightly. Here come the Raiders still in possession.
Yeah, that's 5th there, so just over the halfway. There's not a lot going on here. I think that's Leslie, isn't it? Taking off, trying to create something. But not on this occasion, so...
Yeah, there we go. So turnover for the Tigers, and that early defensive pressure that we talked about in the first half has proved dividends in the second. And just quickly, Sue Ellen, about the women's side of England touch, it must be really promising to see from your point of view, how has it developed over the years? And it's promising to see that lots of really good women's players are coming through the system.
Oh, it's fantastic. And it's a pool of touch players now. Like, quite a long time ago, I suppose now, a few years ago, you were looking, and yes, you had your people who knew how to play touch and really wanted to get this all up and running. But you were constantly trying to get people involved, and you're getting people that, yes, you're fast, but you never played touch. We'll get you on the wing. We'll sort you out. Whereas now it's such a big pool of players that we've got to choose from. So it's really hard to get in an England squad, and that's where we want to be. We want you to work hard. We've got last World Cup, their fitness was so much better than any other year. I mean, the women's 27s that I was in, everyone got over 16 on the yo-yo, which for like the older categories is really good, that everyone stepped up and made sure that they were as fit as they possibly could be, because it mattered, and it mattered to them to get in that team, and it was fierce competition to get in the teams for all categories, which was great. So, and it's just being more and more like that, and the more we get sponsorship and things like that, the more we can support the juniors coming through, because it is expensive to play, and everyone that's down here this weekend plays it because they love it, but equally we are trying to get them sorted out so it's not as expensive, and it just means that it's available to everyone, not who can just afford it.
Yeah, I mean, especially this summer calendar we've had, there's so much going on. We've had the Belief League National Touch Series, the developments, the club championships in Maidenhead, the JCTs.
It's a little bit more than I would like, but it is good that we are able to host so many things. No, it has been a full-on year of touch, with it being a World Cup year as well. I think it's felt like a big season for lots of players, and we've still got a pool of players who are still playing Opens and club champs and Open Nationals and Senior Nationals, and so it's not going to stop for them until 3 weeks' time. I think we then get 6 weeks off before any England stuff actually starts. So there'll be a welcomed break for everyone, with Euros being later next year.
And people, it feels like almost a lifetime ago, the World Cup in Malaysia, at the start of the summer. We've talked in extent over the summer about the heat in Malaysia and the fitness levels you need and the nutrition. Was that tournament a real eye-opener for the future potentially, in terms of that side of the game?
In terms of conditions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to train for your conditions. So I know that lots of us were given a program to train from that included lots of conditioning for the heat that we were going to combat out there. And the heat was just very intense. I think they called it one day because it was 51 degrees on pitch 1, which obviously is very, very hot. But, I mean, training for that particular competition, I know my squad were out there in puffers and gilets and lots of coats and things, and it's quite warm, and you're still running your 6K run, or you're still doing your interval training with all these layers on, just to make your body get used to the fact that it's going to get really hot and really sweaty. And I think actually that paid dividends. I know that the London-based girls went to heat chambers and things and did workouts there just to see how much they were going to lose out there in terms of body weight and fluid. And that was really interesting. But I think it was really well managed. It surprised me how well managed it was in terms of we were getting weighed, we were told how much we needed to drink in that next hour or two. There were always people around to combat any sort of signs of dehydration and heat exhaustion. I thought it was really well managed, and England got complimented even by the Aussies by how good a setup we actually have. So I'm good friends with the mixed open coach that was there for Australia. And he said England are leaps and bounds ahead of any other nation when it comes to sports psych, sports physios, just having that support network there, sports management. Like he just said, it is much better controlled and well run than Australia. They struggled to get people out there, and they wouldn't invest in sports psychs, whereas we would. Which I think was very beneficial, especially for our juniors, who it is the younger players going out there in an open category World Cup. It is tough, and in that heat it's really tough, and they're going to make mistakes and they're going to feel the pressure on them, and they need that support. So I think that was a really good move by England Touch.
Well, in that Midlands Tigers, well, they've raced into a 4-0 lead and looking well on course at the moment to get the victory, and they've sort of just picked up where they left off in the first half. The Midlands Tigers, young Harry Misson was getting over the line then, and they get the turnover now.
Good defensive set there on the line, very nice and tight there in the mid, supporting. North East looked like they had nowhere to go, so I think the Midlands have just got a bit more pace at this stage than North East, and they're making a lot less errors than others. Just as I say that, an
Welcome
error
to
there
the
in the
commentator's
roll.
curse, Ellen.
Oh dear.
And
shouldn't have said anything. I did so well.
But yeah, they do feel like they've just sort of had their extra spring in their step, don't they, this morning, the Midlands Tigers? Is it a mixture maybe of fatigue and maybe just sort of getting going for the second day as well?
It can be quite sore from the first day. I was lucky this morning. The girls felt quite fresh and really up for it. I think this afternoon we're going to have to do a decent warm-up because it's going to be a push. It's going to be hot, and they would have had a really big break. So, but that day 3 is the one that gets you though. So you get to finals day, you really want to do well. You're trying to pump your team up, but equally your legs are screaming at you. The lactic acid is there. Everything's tired. You feel 10 kilos heavier. So it'll be a real grind, I think, on the Monday, but they're all fit enough to do it. You wouldn't be here if you weren't, so.
Absolutely. All these players you'll see out today, throughout the weekend, they have really worked and trained hard for this one. It's always an important event on the touch rugby calendar.
Well, it's selection, isn't it? This is where you show your stuff. So this is where the selectors will be. They don't all come to NTS. They don't all see you. They may watch some live feed, but here is where you need to be if you want to be considered for one of those England squads in the opens category.
What's it like managing that dynamic? You know, in terms of, obviously most of the players will be looking to try and push themselves and show their skills, but then at the same time you want to get your team to win as well. You know, how do you manage that dynamic?
I spoke to the team a little bit about this. So we said everyone has a role to play. What selectors look for is that you can work well with the team and you can do all the basics really well, that you keep positive throughout. There are some flair players, but you need to be able to run lines off those flair players if that's not you. You need to be able to hold depth. You need to be able to read the game. We want to see some instinctive defence where you're reading the game and you're getting up at the right time, you're making the right type of touch. You know, like on the line, you're protecting your short side, but you're watching the ball. And I said to the girls, all that will come, and if as a team you work together and you all play to your strengths that have sort of been identified, you've been put in positions that play to your strengths, then you don't need to worry about being selected. You just play the game and let's just play as a team. The selectors will be looking at you, but you don't need to worry about that. Like, you're here to play the game, to go for the title, and if you play well, that's when you'll get picked up. But they shouldn't feel under any pressure that they're not playing well. And to be honest, I'm really lucky. Like, all my girls have stepped up, so there's no reason why they shouldn't be considered for different squads.
Well, the Midlands Tigers are absolutely roaring in front at the moment, and they look to try and add that 6th of the game. And just a breakaway here for the North East Raiders on that far side, but again, this covering defence trying to stop. Oh, but brilliant little mazy run. He's somehow worked his way through incredibly. How has he managed to pull that one off? Well, the Raiders have managed to get one back. And having another look at this on the replay, all coming down this right-hand side. Just timed his instep to perfection.
Oh, yes, very well done. It's so hard to change direction if you're charging one line like that. Well done, that's a good step. And good for them to get on the board as well. They may not get enough at this stage with the time remaining, but it's a boost for the team. It'd be nice for them to get a few more, make it a tighter match. But equally, Midlands need to get to that line and try and dominate, see if they can score again.
And they're looking at the moment to try and do just that. Murray missing in the middle. Here he is.
Loves the dummy.
Yeah, it's quite a little partnership when Harry and Sam are linking up in the middle.
Yes, yeah, the two boys. I think when Sam and Harry play together, Harry tends to do what he's told. Sam's the boss. Although Harry's got a nice little step on him. Sam's got the long ball, but Harry's got the nice step and dive. So they all have their own little niche moves. Just got to know when to run them, I think.
And the North East Raiders on that far side again, although the Tigers are really swarming around them at the moment.
Yeah, they're really shooting up there, taking the space away so that there's no time. Again, not leaving North East with much. But giving away a penalty, must have left early. So here's a chance for North East if they can get it down there and have a go at the line.
Let's see what they can do. Opting to go for that corner again. Danny McCoy, the 22 in the middle.
You can just see them drawing them out, trying to get themselves more space, which is a really good idea, so they're not in that 5.
Some space opening up on this left-hand side, stretching the defence. Well, it's Tigers. Defence really covering well.
Yeah, not bad from North East. Trying to go the outsides, just passing maybe a bit too early. I think you've got to run and engage those players first before you then can offload the ball. We often say you've got to earn the right to pass the ball. So you've got to engage a defender to then create what is a good passing opportunity. If you just go through the hands, it just ends up being man on and quite easy to defend. But you're right, Midlands did move laterally very nicely there. A nice smooth drive. Again, this is what we talk about, the momentum. So just keeping it going. Although I'm guessing that was the last touch there to throw the ball away like that.
Yeah, just under 4 minutes remaining. The Tigers still in control and on course for the victory. Although the Raiders have just come back into it slightly, looking to try and force things a bit and get some points on the board. You never know. Could every point really matters. Over the 10-metre mark they come. Stops in the tracks.
Just that stop of momentum, it just makes it just that little bit harder. Although this is good. Oh, it's a shame about that pass, but just going forward like that just can create things. And it's often what you need, just a little bit more momentum.
Oh, lovely run and fantastic turn of pace. Where did that come from? Brilliant. And over the line they go, and the Tigers have extended that lead, and that was just individual pace.
Nice little step to get around the outside the winger, and just those young legs. But he had to push all the way to the line.
Yeah, there's no stopping him as soon as the afterburners came on. And
no, we've seen a few breakaways actually this tournament. I know from my girls, Kat Jones broke through and ran the full length yesterday, which we've not seen before. So that was very good. And then Tamara Slater today ran half the length by just listening to the ref and running through. So it really is getting past those players, getting around the outside, or often listening to the ref and knowing the player that they're calling offside, allowing yourself to go through.
2 minutes remaining on our clock at the moment.
See if North East can get us another score on the board. They're trying to create that momentum there, but again, then just holding up. So Midlands are not giving them the person they want, I think. Oh, she was half, I thought. Interesting. Perhaps I'm wrong. It's not been called. Good cover by the winger there from Ash.
Brilliant work, and the Tigers turn over the ball again inside their own half. And
yeah, with this amount of time to go, you just want to complete your set of 6, get it down there, maybe have a go at the line, but not go too hard. It's very clear that North East are not coming back from this, so there's no need to waste too much energy here. Just finish the game off. Different if the score was tied or 1 or 2 in it.
yeah, the Tigers are well on course at the moment, and still plenty of touch rugby to be played as well, so they don't want to try and burn themselves out in the first game.
No, they may have another game yet, another 2 games, who knows. So they've got to keep that energy in the bank for the next game.
So 30 seconds remaining, and the Tigers, I think, have been thoroughly deserving winners so far. They looked organised in defence and clinical, of course. Yeah,
I'm slightly biased being Midlands myself, but I do think they've kept that momentum. They've had a nice transition, and in defence especially, they've really kept North East in the half, which just gives you so many more chances at your own line. So really good effort from them. They'll be really pleased to get that victory as the hooter goes there.
And that brings an end to our second game of the day, and it is Midlands Tigers who come out on top once again, and this time in the mixed competition over the North East Raiders by 6 points to 1. Well, Sue Ellen, thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box.
No problem.
And all the best of luck for today and tomorrow.
Thanks very much.
And we'll move on to our third game of the morning, which will be into the men's competition, and we'll see the Southwest Saxons taking on the North East Raiders. That'll be coming up next. So third game of the morning and our second day here in St Ives, Cambridgeshire, and it sees the South West Saxons taking on the North East Raiders in the men's competition. Two cracking games this morning, and the first game of the day, Midlands Tigers defeating the South East Sharks by 6 points to 5, and we've just had the words of Sue Ellen Goody in our second game of the day, talking us through the narrow victory for her side. And the Midlands Tigers coming out on top in the mixed game as well against the North East Raiders. And it is the Raiders we see in action once again. Just pushing the ball out to that far side, some fresh faces on, and not in any rush to come on the halfway line. Over on the 10-metre mark. Saxons looking forward and again slipping over. It's in that same region actually, just right of centre, attacking that line. Owen Walton, it was driving forward. Good early pressure from the Saxons here. Really trying to put it to the North East Raiders, who look to try and come forward themselves. Still scoreless after the opening 2 minutes. On the halfway line now, the North East Raiders trying to cross the 10 metres, bit of momentum now, trying to push this Saxons defence back all the time, looking to go left. Is there some space opening up? Good covering defence once again. So 3.5 minutes in, still scoreless between the South West Saxons and the North East Raiders. And I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Joe Hartley from the Wildcats. Joe, still unbeaten, victory this morning, must be delighted.
Yeah, it's gone really well. Yesterday was a really strong performance, and today we had a bit of a tough battle with Northwest, but came out on top again, which is great.
And how are the legs feeling after yesterday? It was hot, wasn't it? Tough
it was
work.
Really hot, yeah. Some of the guys were suffering, but we had a good warm down, good rest, something to eat, and we're good to go again.
What was the mood like amongst the camp then? Yesterday
really
must be
positive
good.
actually. Yeah, it was good. Performance was really solid, and everyone was stoked.
So at the moment, South West Saxons taking on the North East Raiders in the mixed competition. Still scoreless at the moment. Seen two brilliant games so far this morning. The Midlands Tigers just running out 6-5 winners over the South East Sharks. And then a win again for the Midlands Tigers in our second game of the day. As the Saxons looking to try and drive forward again. Here's Walton in the middle with Armstrong. He gets it back. That was a lovely move. And a really nice momentum to that attack.
There was. They swept on the transition, kept the ball rolling. And then when you got the defence going backwards, anything can happen, and they just shut in there and a nice little pop. That's a great score, number 11. Yeah, there we go. Cool, Owen Walton from University of Exeter. Exeter are one of the top uni sides, and they've got a huge pool of talent, so the Southwest are tapping into that.
Well, we saw, I think, for the first time in the Belief in National Touch Series, had extra Raptors, of course, coming through. So, yeah, using all that experience, all that, well, pool of talent to use from the University of Exeter, of course, like you said.
We'll pop and we're in, yeah.
Instant reply from the Raiders. Perfect response.
Here comes the scoop. And that's Dan Askew. Yeah, Dan Askew with the pass, who plays for the Galaxy Club. He works up in the northeast, and he's an experienced player. He's been here playing mixed open with Southwest, I think, last year, being one of the creative players for northeast.
So one apiece after the opening
switch here, and here comes the sweeper around the back. Oh, couldn't quite get the ball away.
Good defensive cover over on that far side, putting the pressure on. Still with the Saxons.
Here's the hammer, long ball, and then the walk in. Yeah, nice.
That was a gorgeous pass. It just floated in the air.
So the hammer comes in, steps back, and throws a long ball over the shutting defence, and the wing is in loads of space. That's Sam Cutler, who's from there he is. He's played a couple of times for England. He's a Southwest regular. Very rapid player there on the wing.
And how about yourself, Joe? What were you thinking coming into this weekend? How are you? 3-day weekend, of course, it's another big weekend of touch rugby in the Nationals.
Yeah,
how are you feeling coming in?
Yeah, we hadn't had a lot of training sessions, but we've got a kind of simple game plan, and we've got a nice mix of youth and experience. So we hit back, forward pass, cool. Yeah, nice mix of youth and experience. So we've just got a nice simple game plan, and it's about executing that at pace. We've got some real fast boys in our team. So yeah, but Nationals is a great 3-day weekend. It's good quality touch, usually good weather, and great to see all this talent on show. Oh, that's in. Yeah.
There we go. What a response for the Raiders, and that was lightning fast.
So here we go. We've got the sweeper, but instead he scoops, goes the other way, feeds off, and feeds back, and then no one at home. Beautiful. Great score. Trying to work out who that was. Number 11, John O'Clark, I think, gave the pass. He played senior mixed in the World Cup this summer in Malaysia. One of the Northeast Raiders' more experienced players.
What's the dynamic been then for your side, for the weekend? Of course, with this format, you get players coming in from different clubs. What's it been like getting them all together and trying to form a surge to try and do well this weekend?
Yeah, well, some of us know each other, so we've got a few clubs well represented. So my club, Oxford, as another sweeper comes.
A chance for Armstrong laying it off.
Oh, is he in? Is he in? He is.
Well, from one end of the other to the next, it's you score, we score at the moment. Brilliant stuff.
Little fake inside. Pop behind and the defender's gone. Number 18 popped up too early. So that's another good score. As you see Mike Rower there with the dark hair walking off. He's another senior mixed England player, number 13, who played with me at the World Cup.
That must feel like a lifetime ago.
Yeah,
the World Cup.
Similar, kind of similar heat. Dealing with the heat yesterday.
Yeah, so just going back to the original point of getting all these players coming in from different clubs. What's that dynamic like?
Yeah, it can be a challenge here at Nationals, but we've got some well-represented clubs. So Oxford, which is my team, and Revolution from Birmingham. So they've each got kind of 4 or 5 players. So you can use those club combinations, and then if you've got sometimes you do have to build other combinations, but it tends to work pretty well.
So deep inside their own half, the Saxons. Work to do to try and get at the other end of the field, although no side has really pulled away, so if they can get a 2-point lead, it could just open things up a tad over halfway.
Oh, something wrong there. Referee Jack Harris calling that. A little bit further back, getting it right. What are we doing?
The Saxons up and at them straight away.
No half, a little bit of confusion. Just about got away with it.
You almost just nick of time.
Coming up.
Scooping it up.
This is the first time we've had North East as a men's open team. They've done mixed in previous years, so it is definitely something new for them as the long ball flies out and off the field. So first time for North East, and it's obviously men's open's a really tough competition, so they'll be learning even if they're not winning. Southwest hit it up, and it looks like they're going to stay on for a 4-man drive, so rather than go to the sub box, they try and get the defence rolling back with a hard drive. Here we go, and then it's look at Steve Holland with the pop. And now they'll have to set up a scoop here. They'll try and get down on someone and have a little scoop. Here we go. Step back, pass. Oh, intercept.
Well, that'd have been some interception. Just flying in.
Length of the field.
That would have been incredible. We've seen a couple actually this week. Yesterday.
Breakaways.
Yeah,
okay.
We've seen a couple in action. And I can imagine after trying to get one up the other end of the field as Saxons looking to try to come through again. Oh, just
People
a tumble.
flying everywhere, and he's just going to say ball to ground, I think. Oh, might be hurt there.
Yeah, a couple of the coaches and players have said it's when the morning dew disappears, it can be quite hard underfoot.
Yeah, it is. It's rock hard out there. It means it's dry ball, means you can kind of throw those passes.
Yeah, especially over the summer, we've had a really mix of weather at these touch rugby with the Leaf Elite National Touch Series that we talked about in Oxford, where it was just sweltering heat, and then up in Manchester, monsoon Manchester, I think people were calling it.
Little error there. Yeah, the Manchester one was pretty wet. Everyone was huddled in their tents, trying to get out of the rain. So a little bit of inaccuracy in the roll balls. Here we go, Saxons coming on, and a pop, and keeping the momentum through. Here we go. Here comes the scoop. Step back. He's away. Can he find someone?
Out wide, and there was the space.
Yeah, and Sam Cutler again on the wing.
Wow.
So at least 2 today. Nice scoop against the grain. And then there's a 3-on-2 overlap, and the winger's free. Nice. As you've gone to your sub box, the fresh legs coming on. That's a really great chance to attack. You might only have a couple of touches, but the defence is rolling back. So you can really, if you can move them around and keep that momentum through, you can really punish teams as they roll back towards their line. So it's a really good opportunity to score. Similarly with the tap off, as you'll see here, they'll have some planned manoeuvre, and then they'll try and strike. So we've seen quite a few scores off the tap-off today. Here we go, here's a short. Ooh,
you could see, wasn't it? He was eyeing up the line. He was getting down low, which you've got to do, but it must be tough, especially with the surface. Trying to, when it's wet, you can really dive in and get down low, but it's a bit tougher. You'll get a few bumps and bruises today.
Penalty here as the Saxons dropped off a little bit early. And Neil Hennigan with the tap. He plays for Yorkshire Thorns, the Yorkshire Thorns combination. And there's Neil. Both of these played together in the World Cup for the senior mixed for England, their debut tournament. And Neil, who's in the black hat, he's on the ball now. He's a real dangerous runner. Here we go, pop. Just thinking what to do. There's a little bit of disorganisation here. Yeah, not quite sure what they're doing. I think they want to bring Neil in the number 4 round on the sweep. Here he goes. Ooh, ball to ground.
Yeah, he could. It was finally they were trying to work something. It took him a while to try and figure it out. And in those sort of situations where you're sort of a bit stuck, is it just about just keeping patience and just keeping the ball ticking along?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's good to have a couple of go-to moves. So you might know that you're talking your little pod that you go on with. You go on with the same guys, and you might say something like, "Oh, okay, if it slows up, we'll do a 32 short, or we'll do a sweeper play." And that way, you know, okay, if it slows down, you're not kind of walking back, talking and thinking. You're actually going, "Okay, I know what we're going to do," and we'll just drop into that. But that's one of the challenges of these nationals, because you don't have the combinations that you might have to do at club. Yeah. You maybe haven't got that kind of natural linkage together. So I think sometimes in these tournaments, having a nice simple game plan and just executing that well is more important than trying to get really complex. So you haven't got time to really build that. Oh, a little chance here, and they're away down the wing.
Well, it's slowly now just opening up for the Saxons. They soaked up a bit of that pressure from the Raiders and have gone up the other end. It's lovely hands, and it's
nice.
Yeah, simple finish in the end.
Initiated by Stevie Holland there with the white armbands. He's another one who's played England touch for the men's 30s. He's a real workhorse, plenty of energy, loves to dive. He's also a semi-professional footballer in the southwest, so a really good athlete. He always wins the fitness tests at England training camp. Oh, and ball to ground. But we're saying offside, I think. Yeah. Referee Jack Harris there, calling them off.
Yeah, one of the younger referees, Jack Harris, who actually had him in the commentary box up in Oxford a couple of weeks ago, and he's enjoying his refereeing as the Raiders looking to come in. Touch call by Jack.
Yeah, he's recently finished his degree at Bath Uni. He's been involved with the setup there, and I think he's also a qualified rugby union ref, and has been there. I think Bath Uni's second team captain as well. So Bath Uni and Exeter, two of the big universities for touch. As he blows another penalty. North East have another shot, so let's see what they've got. They're a bit more coordinated this time. Here we go, another sweeper, 15 coming around the back door. Pick up. Oh, but shut down by Steve Holland. What have they got in their locker? Drops it.
What would you be thinking then from a North East Raiders point of view? You're getting chances, aren't you? They're getting some really good opportunities, you know, almost on their 5 metres of their opposition.
Yeah, they're getting up there.
What would you be saying, maybe coming into the break or this final few minutes to your side in terms of trying to execute those chances?
Yeah, I think I would say to each pod, because you go on in groups of probably 4 in men's, just to talk and be really clear on what you're going to do when you going on. So you'll have a plan for your transition. That means your plan for when you run out of the box. But you'd want to be talking in the box and saying, okay, if it slows up, we're going to run sweepers, or if it slows up, we're going to run 32 shorts. That way you don't have that kind of walking back, talking. You just can go into it straight away. And they'll go to the box. This part's been reasonably well coordinated, and we'll see what they do coming on in their transition. Oh, and just a little bit of inaccuracy in the roll ball. Just seems to be hurting them a little bit.
Yeah, just under 2 minutes then remaining, and Saxons looking to see if they can extend that lead. Try and finish off what's been a relatively very good half. Here's Armstrong.
He's from Exeter Uni, I think.
Yeah, a few questions about the choice of headwear.
That's an interesting style. A bit French Foreign Legion there with the wrap. Here we go. Switching in Mike Rower. He dumps, and here comes the sweeper.
Oh, just managed to hold on. This is quick play from the Saxons, and the Raiders having to
phase.
Hold on.
Mikey. Yes. Nice. Good composure there from Southwest. So even though their initial attack was shut down, if you play a second phase and get the ball quickly out, it's often an easy try in there. And Mikey Rowe, nice and composed, finding the winger free.
Yeah, Henrik Dortmund, since his first nationals competition, and he's looked very calm and composed every time the ball's come to him. And he's got a few scores himself. Yeah. He's another one from the University of Exeter.
Yeah.
Like you say, Joe, plenty of them involved in this Southwest Saxon side.
Yeah, such a great pool of talent. At Oxford, we have connections with the university, and they're not as strong as, say, a Bath or an Exeter, but we've really benefited from having some of their young, quick players to help some of us older ones alongside. So Luke Milsom, George Carroll in the men's open for Wildcats have been from the university, and we've had others in the past, like Miles Partridge, who went to Oxford as well. So yeah, it's really great to see touch flourishing at universities. I think it's perfect for a university sport.
Absolutely. And at the break here then, it is the Saxons who currently lead the way after the opening 20 minutes. They've looked very clinical and well organised at the back, and we'll have to wait and see how the Raiders respond in the second 20 minutes. Well, myself and Joe will be back in a couple of moments' time for the second half.
It's really cool to play against a number of really good British teams, which we don't always get to play against. To have a 2-day tournament also is not new for us, but we don't have that a lot as well in Europe. So yeah, I guess the two just really good high level that makes a difference.
For us, this is a step up. We usually play, we've got a local league, a Catalan league. There's only about 7 or 8 teams, mixed levels. And then we try and get around Europe and play a few tournaments. So for us, this is great to play top quality touch. So for us, it's a real step up, and we're really enjoying and learning a hell of a lot.
I mean, we wanted to play at high level, and we got what we came for. Obviously, it's been a tough tournament for us because we're a team that we don't have a league. We're just one club and one national team together. But it's been great. It's been very high and complicated, but we're hoping to finish this tournament with positives, and it's definitely the case.
We've got, 7 players, I think, between the ages of 15 and 22, with the majority of them never playing at this level before, only playing touch in our local league. So they had a big step up and a big learning curve, and I definitely feel like they're better players no matter what happened yesterday, playing in today's game. So that's what we came in for, was more experience, more exposure, and the guys are getting it and adapting well.
For us, it's a very, very good and interesting experience because in our team there is a mix of level, and it's very fun for us to play in the European Championship. It's a way to discover other countries and to learn about the other countries and to play mixed level.
The weekend's been challenging. It's the first time Source and any Guernsey team has come to a competition like this, especially some new players for us coming up against some big hard competition such as the Cambridge team and so on. So it's been a challenge, but it's been great.
We had a nice mix of some that haven't yet had a chance to play at this level versus others that are well equipped and experienced in it. So having the two together and playing in this has been brilliant. It's a lot quicker, and I think the newer players is seeing how quick touch can be played at, so the ball scalability, playing around, and also utilising the players on the pitch has been perfect.
It was amazing. It was exactly what we wanted. We got to come over and compete against the best teams in Europe. We planned for quite a while for this tournament, so yeah, like I wish there was more of these tournaments. I wish they were on every few weeks, but yeah, it was great. It was great.
A great weekend, two tough days of touch. I think 10 or 11 games between us. Hardest combinations of touch we played today was all fantastic touch, and you could tell from the championship there were loads of strong teams. I think 2 or 3 teams lost 2 or 3 games and might have still been in the final. We're a bit of a revolving door, so you never really know, and that's why sometimes we're quite good, sometimes we're a bit average. But the standard of touch in the UK is definitely rising. It's gotten a lot better. We do have, I think, 3 or 4 standard English guys playing the national side as well, so that does help for a bit of stability. 18 teams, very, very tough, obviously. Teams from all over Europe. It was a great tournament, lots of good games, and we'll definitely be back next year.
So moments away from the start of the second half here in the men's. Southwest Saxons versus the North East Raiders, and it's the Saxons who lead at the break, and we are back underway, and you're joined by myself, Bradley Hope, and Joe Hartley from the Wildcats. Joe, what would your message be to the Raiders? They're still in this, there's still plenty of time, and that's the beauty of these 20-minute halves, isn't it? So what would you say to the Raiders side?
So I think they're getting time on the line. It just needs a little bit of composure to as a good chance. And is that a score? Oh, I think with the dive he would have been in. I think just need little flick, and that's 6. So guys like number 1 Dan Askew, people like Neil Hennigan and Jono Clark, they just need to get a little bit of composure and just control the game for some of the less experienced players around them. And that just means a bit of talk and just trying to get that structure. Talk's so important in touch, so just get the communication going so everyone knows around you what you're going to do. There's Dan with a touch and a scoop and a long ball. Yeah, little too high for Steve Holland. He's quite vertically challenged like myself. There we go.
And the Raiders now the chance to try and storm up the other end of the field, although good pressure already from the Saxons, but a good breakaway. This is a nice yardage made up, good momentum building. Need more of this if they're going to try and get back into it.
Yeah, they've got the pace out there, they just need to kind of direct it in the right place. Saw Neil Hennigan with the scoop, he's got plenty of gas, but it just kind of fizzles out there a little bit near the Saxons line. See what their drive is like. That's big Dom Brooke on the wing, who's been involved in the England setup and Exeter Uni, and also played for Switzerland previously in Men's Open. Here they go, driving on.
There's Armstrong, he needs that support, gets that support, but it just can't grab it. You can see what they were trying to do. So yeah, turnover, plus control of the ball. So Joe, over the years since you've been playing touch, what's sort of the main differences you've seen? Is it the amount of players coming through? Is it the start of coaching, or just the general playing?
I think games moved on massively. I started playing like first NTS back in 2008 or 2009, something like that. So I've been seeing the development of the sport, and it's just huge. You know, there wasn't even nationals when I started, and they just used to be kind of open trials. And but I think that, you know, things like the nationals, things like in fact there's now a NTS and the development NTS and the UTS. Just seeing so many people playing the game. You're also seeing lots of junior stuff. I'm amazed by the quality of and number of juniors playing here, and we've just seen a fantastic junior touch championship in Paris, where England's, you know, cleaned up, won all gold medals, and didn't lose a game. And just seeing what a development there is, and just the quality on the pitch. You know, still playing open in NTS, just really high quality games. So the game's moved on massively in every way.
Of course, with that World Cup at the start of the year as well, it must be just such an incentive for these youngsters now. When after the summer we've had, and we've thought, you know, obviously the next World Cup's 4 years away. We've got the Euros, of course, coming up. You know, not in the not so distant future. It's just feels like a really exciting time to be part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, England are taking the lead in Europe, and through the, you know, great kind of administration, but just the game's growing so much. Another good score.
Yeah, the Saxons going over the line again and really asserting their dominance now. They've gone off to the start. They've got the first score, and that's 7 on the board. But sorry, Joe. Yeah, can't we sort of talking about the development?
Yeah, that's right. I think also just seeing so many good young athletes choosing touch as their main sport early in their career. I think when I started, it tended to be people who played maybe a lot of rugby and were getting on and, you know, didn't want to get injured, but actually we're seeing really high quality, fit, athletic, skillful players who, you know, choose touch in their teens, and then, you know, by the time they get into their 20s, they've been playing a number of years, and that really helps with the quality too. Neil Hennigan's going to come on a short here. He's got a good dive on him. Oh, away. Oh.
I almost couldn't believe it'd fall into him, could it? And it was just waiting for it to fall into his hands, and it just slipped out. They're always the ones that when you don't expect to drop it, and they just slip away.
Yeah, you almost had too much time to think about it there as it popped up. Had an easy 2-on-1. Oh, and slapped down by Neil. 6 again. No, that wasn't correct. It was a roll ball because the ball came to down, not a tap. So a little error there. And that gives the ball back to Northeast. And Neil will start with a roll ball. There we go.
In terms of yourself, Joe, do you find yourself just sort of naturally giving sort of tips and advice and sharing your experience with the youngsters that are coming through?
Yeah, I think it's having had the benefit of some really good coaching at England with people like Martin Wright, who's one of the best coaches around. You just pick up so much stuff from the coaches, from other experienced players, and just passing it on at club level or at the regions as well. So I'm player coach at Oxford and with the Wildcats, and I think good shutdown. That just really helps some of the less experienced players. Ooh, little fumble.
Again, just mistakes creeping in. Already at 11. It is hot, and it's obviously day 2. Slight fatigues and maybe some aches in the bones, of course.
Yeah, as you get hot and tired, the little errors creep in, the little fumbles, and you don't quite have the energy to make it properly. Here you go, scoop, step back, and the wing is free again.
That was great patience. It was Ewan Armstrong again.
Take the defence one way, step back. There we go. I think that's Don Brook. Yeah. Big lad on the wing. Number 10.
Yeah, the 2 University Exeter players linking up there again. And the Saxons, well, really putting the Raiders to the sword now.
There's Dan Askew. I think he's one of their top players. He's looking to come on the sweep now. There he goes, number 1. Going short side. Oh, I think Steve Holland had him there, number 17. And the pass was late.
So after a sort of a long, feels like a long summer, lots of competitions to get your teeth into. What's next then over the winter? How do you prepare for the winter sessions and then coming into the next summer? Because it comes around so quickly, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. There's no rest for the wicked. Even if it gets quiet on the club scene, then comes nationals, so preparing for that. And then even when so after this weekend, it's probably going to be a little bit quieter for the next couple of months. But if people are lucky enough to get called into England camps, and the first England camps, I think October. So it's pretty much all year round, which is great to keep you fit, but sometimes it could do with a bit of a break. So I think the next month might be a bit quieter. And then early in the new year, you'll be getting ready, working with the club team to work on new things to develop, new combinations, new moves over the winter. There's Neil on the drive.
Yeah, good yards made up, eating up the yards on this near side, and flicked out into the middle.
32 short coming. Here goes Neil on the strike again, number 4, takes some short side and hands away and a score, yeah.
Lovely move from the Raiders, and that'll just give him a little bit more confidence.
So number 11, Jono Clark, splits hard out, and so when Neil comes, the link bites and Jono's free. Really nice, classic 32 short there, or rooster, some people call it. Always important, like Jono showed there, to split hard after you've dumped, because you then become the link, and you're then a threat. So whenever you do a 32 short, make sure you dump and split hard out to link. Yeah, you'll get some easy scores like Jono got there.
So the Saxons just having their leader pull back slightly, although they're still very much in the ascendancy and looking to drive forward and get it back again, that 6-point lead. Although pass is just a little bit wayward, and it's handed back over to the Raiders.
That's a better box drive, getting up towards halfway on 3rd touch. That's what you need. Needs a half there. And then we're looking for 5th touch. Oh, a little fumble. You wanted a 5th touch, a good dump and a scoop. But Dan just dropped as he took his eye off it.
Shame, because they were building something quite nice there.
That was a decent drive. Oh, little stumble.
Seeing a few little slips over in the field, even though it's bone dry.
And there's a sweeper pickup, and oh, good shot. There was an overlap there. He shut it down well.
Tommy Dixon, the number 10 for the Raiders.
Wait for the hands.
Just nullifying that attack.
Good work, 14.
No touch, no touch.
Okay, go forward now, 14. Here.
Sweeper going short side.
Good touch, good touch.
Touch made. Yeah.
Just in the time. It was. It looked very nice. The dive came in and he took it well, but yeah, touch just coming in.
Nearly had Sam in for another score. Going for a hammer here now. Armstrong looks short side, step back, and didn't quite execute the flick on.
Mike, let's get there if you want to stop.
And that Raiders' drive has been a bit better. That's good yardage. Dan Askew takes it over halfway. And in for Neil Hennigan to drive. And one more touch before the scoop comes. Or a pop, a short again. No more touches. Yeah, lost count.
The Saxons defending well organised at the back.
There's Mike Rower, one of the oldest men in touch, driving it up. He's an amazing athlete.
Yeah, he still looks like he's just sort of just popped another Duracell battery in, doesn't he? And he's just, we'll just go again.
Yeah. Very experienced player. Good, really nice to play with. Very calm on the field. There he is, just organising. There he is, hammer this side, number 6. Step back. Oh, and nearly Mikey Rower. Well shot by Neil Hennigan. And we're saying ball to ground. Okay.
So Joe, you just briefly sort of talked about early on in the game about the amount of sides there is now in the international setup. England, there just seem to be just so many sides now that people can get into, and it's just another sign of this incredible development.
Yeah, that's right. There certainly wasn't as many when I started, but this year we had the first ever women's 35s at the World Cup, which was great to see that. And even the 40s, 45s, England has the full complement. And it just gives people plenty of opportunity to get exposure to that high performance training, coaching, and really develop their game.
Yeah, and we had Sue Ellen Goody, actually, who's one of the Midlands Tigers women's coach this weekend, and she said I think one of the main things that's really progressed with the England international side is just almost the off the field stuff as well, the science behind it and the psychology. That it must be such an important factor, especially when you're out in the World Cup in Malaysia.
Yeah, all that off-field support has just been amazing. It's like being a professional athlete for a week whilst you're out there and in the preparation. And the high-performance team just put so much work into making sure no stone is left unturned. We have sports psychologists. We get nutrition advice, lots of advice on fitness. So it's really, really good. You've got no excuse not to improve yourself as a player. It's just great.
And here come the Saxons again.
And there's Steve Holland on the sweep. Step back, check off. Yeah, very nice.
They've had to be patient, and they've finally wore down this Raiders defence.
This dude takes the defence, steps back, and as the shot comes, the link was a little slow, and they're able to dive in. There he is calling it, but he was a bit too late.
Yeah, lovely score for the Saxons, and they advance into that 9-3 lead now. And if you're the Saxons, now, Joe, what would you be thinking sort of one game ahead now, knowing that you've pretty much got the game in the bag and just trying to maybe conserve a bit of energy?
Well, it's interesting. I think normally you would, but this mixed open division has become quite tight with teams kind of beating each other. So there's a bit of a carrot in terms of getting a higher position. If you finish in the top 2, you don't have to play this evening. So that's definitely an incentive to try and get some extra scores, get some points difference, which might mean that you can finish in that top 2.
Nice earlier. Walk back to the hotel.
Yeah, get back early, get some food on, stretch up, rather than, you know, playing a knockout game late on today is a big difference.
How does that, of course, with 3 days, 3-day events, the final day is always the finals.
Yeah.
And you have that, it's that interesting dynamic as the Saxons looking to come in again, although it's a good interception. That interesting dynamic of the pressure of it being the finals, but also the final day, and it makes me so fatigued.
Yeah, it's really tough. But it's the same for everyone, so you might see the pace drop a little bit versus day one. But that little bit of adrenaline being in a final really can help you out sometimes. Just hope that people haven't gone down injured and you've got to do more work than normal.
Yeah. So just over 3 minutes then remaining for the
late pass
Raiders.
there.
Yeah, well spotted.
There's Sam Cutler with the tap. And that's width. Not sure Saxons are playing all of their top players. Someone goes down. Looks alright. I think Camille Shahabdin is one of their top strike runners. Maybe they're saving him for the tougher games. Mike Rowe with the pop, another sweep. Second phase. Oh, walks it in, but I think there's an infringement.
You can almost see just as he bent down, he just.
He knew he was going to get called back.
So what's the plan then for the rest of the day, and then looking ahead to tomorrow? Then Joe, what's the thinking for the side then?
So we've got another game around lunchtime. We've got a tough game against Southwest Mixed, and they're a similar team like us. They've got some youth and some experience. So Martin Wright and Mark Knight's experienced players will be playing for them. So that will still be a tough game, but we hope we can do enough to get in the top 2 and miss out on that late game tonight. And just recover. I hope do our stretching, get our fluids on, nutrition, so that we're not we don't suffer too much tomorrow. And hopefully get a chance to cheer on our fellow Wildcats team. So we've got our women's, our men's open, and our junior side all playing. So it's really nice to be able to go clap them onto the field, cheer them on when they score, and help support each other.
Just over a minute then to go. Saxons looking to try and get into double figures, slipping and sliding everywhere. Agonisingly kind of get the touch, but it's the Saxons who go through again. And that's 10 up with a minute to go.
So, well,
it's so unfortunate. Joseph Ong there for the Raiders. Agonising as he slips over. Oh. So 30 seconds remaining of this second half. The Saxons have the game sewn up, but Raiders still pushing on. And have they managed to sneak through? Touch comes. And there goes the hooter. Still having to wait for the final phase of play, are we? Nope, that is the end then. That is full time in our third game of the day. And the Southwest Saxons have ran out comfortable winners in the end by 10 points to 3. Well, Joe, thank you very much for joining us.
Cheers.
In the commentary box, and good luck for the rest of the day.
Thank you.
And we'll now move on to the women's competition once again, and we'll see the South East Taipans taking on the North West Blades. That'll be coming up next.
Please note if you are playing music, please be respectful. We are the BBC. Players and officials, stand by. Players and officials, stand by.
Line!
So here we go then, our fourth game of the day. And this time from the women's South East Taipans against North West Blades. And I'm joined by a couple of the South West Saxon side. We've got Camille Shahabdeen and Michael Rower. And guys, well, good victory just up there, and you must be delighted.
Yeah, we're a bit hot and sweaty because we just walked off the field, but there's a great touchdown there in the corner by, is it Emily Clues? Naomi. Nice score.
Yeah, good start. And yeah, how are you boys feeling? It's been, I mean, the weather's been pretty relentless, hasn't it? That's
yeah,
couple of days.
I think it's 30 degrees today, so we're looking forward to our 3 games. But we've got one out of the way. We've got another one at 1, and then another one at 3. So we've got quite good game timings today.
Yeah.
But here they go.
How was the side feeling after yesterday? What was the team morale like back in the hotel?
It was good. Yeah, it's positive. Nationals is a grind. You know, three games per day. But yeah, we're all in good spirits. We still got 16 players, so we're looking forward to it. Right, Northwest setting up here. I think trying to set up a sweeper play.
Let's see what they can do.
Oh,
lovely pass. That is sensational.
It's all good too.
And one apiece after the opening 2 minutes. Worth another look.
Yeah, it's a nice chop in hole there. Who was that? Is that Nikki? I think that was Nikki that scored there.
So guys, individually, what were you looking to get out of the weekend? How were you feeling coming into the weekend here in Cambridge?
At this stage, we're just trying to make the top 4. We're not worried about semis or finals. Just make the top 4. If we can get second or third spot, you know, that's a good spot for us. And then it's all down to semi-finals. And Sophie there going for a quick dive. Looks like the Taipans are trying to set up a hammer here. And a passive line out the back. Oh, I think that's Nikki Bird just touched in the corner there. Oh, and that's their last touch, turnover.
And of course, we're coming sort of to the back end of the summer now. How's the general summer been for you guys with the so many competitions, hasn't there? It's been pretty relentless.
Yeah, actually, we're especially with the World Cup as well, and the domestic season with the NTS and the men's and women's. There's been a lot of touch. Now we've got nationals, so yeah, a lot of touch rugby this year. So girls are rolling again, looking for a reset. Looks like a sweeper play here. I think that's Danny going around on the sweeper play. She's pretty quick and good at a dive. All right.
Yeah, looking to try and find a way through. Still locked in at 1 apiece after 4. Just slowing things down a tad.
Uh-oh. Doggy's on the short side and she's in, I think. She's got it down. Yeah, it was a well-worked play. They did a dump on the link and run what we call a doggies with the mid-sweeping around the outside and caught them short side. Winger caught. Yeah, that's a great touchdown. I think that was Mahalo Wells.
And of course, with the nationals, you get players obviously from different clubs. What's that been like? What's that dynamic been like for you guys in terms of coming together and playing this weekend?
It's pretty good. We've got 6 Exeter uni students in our squad, so I've sort of kept them in pods, and we've got a Bristol pod, and then we've got a sort of a random pod. So we have got, we've because we've only had 3-4 trainings, we've just grouped players together that play club level. That's the best we can do, as well as sort of run our structures. So yeah, we're okay. We're comfortable with that. There's the Taipans driving out. That's their second. This will be their third on halfway, and they've got a transition coming on here. Nikki's in half, and they'll look to set up here for possibly a scoop. Straight through the middle.
Lucky for that support. Have they got it?
Did she find the winger?
Just have to
Looks
wait
like
for
she has, yeah.
Yeah, confirmation.
It's a great scoop right up the middle between the 2 links. That's Alice, and then she sends a lovely long ball. Yeah, nice. Great touchdown.
And in terms of yourself, Camille, how's the summer been for yourself?
I've been sort of chilling since the World Cup.
Yeah.
It's quite an intense build up to that. So, well,
Still struggling with the heat here. I rested the last game and I'm dripping in sweat just sitting in the commentary box in the air conditioning room.
It's a tad cooler in here. It's sort of getting the benefit of the fans, but it's in terms of keeping yourself fresh and fit for the whole weekend. How do you guys prepare for that?
So we had a few training sessions, but I think in general it's just down to ourselves just to run around and keep your hand in games. So played in the domestic tournaments for Galaxy a few times. I think the X2 Uni boys put in a Raptors team and all that kind of stuff. But in general, we're probably a bit less fit than we were in April, which is unfortunate. Yeah, but we've recruited some young guns for our team, so hopefully they can pick up the slack that we've left behind.
Yeah, a real mixture of ages. It must be good to see so many young. We've talked a lot about the youngsters sort of coming through. It must be really exciting to see that mixture of ages.
Yeah, for sure. Some of our more experienced players have sort of moved on. Like Byron, for example, has had a child, so in process of having a child, so he's not here this weekend. Yeah, Ollie Sills, Martin's stepped down for the mixed to lead them.
And
Emily Rona Roper now, married woman. Found a lovely man.
Yeah, the Taipans just edging it at the moment. It's been a very competitive game. Both sides defending relatively well. Just need the Blades to try and force home, to try and push themselves up the field. Good pressure. So 8 minutes gone so far. Taipans still in control.
Naomi on the scoop, step back, flings it long. We've got a 2-on-1 on the wing. Dive in the corner. Good D from the wing. Good cover across. Oh, big touch there.
Yeah, very aggressive touch just on the 5 metre, but it's not brought up.
It's quite a grind this game, just driving up and down. So one team I assume will probably fall in the second half, or one will come on top.
Yeah, what do you guys, when you're in that sort of type of game where it's it feels like it's sort of played in the middle of the park and it's nothing coming off, how do you guys sort of keep motivated to try and push on?
We just need to stick to our structures, and it's like an arm wrestle, it's a grind. Sometimes you'll have to play 38, 39 minutes to beat a team, maybe an extra time. It's so tight at Nationals. Normally there's only a couple of scores in it between winning and losing. But yeah, that's part of it, is that grind, is just particularly in this heat. Keeping the errors down, keeping hold of the ball, and just playing the territory game, getting down the right end of field. The Taipans are driving out nicely here. They're coming into their transition play. Looks like they might set up for a scoop. It looks like Alice is going to scoop. She's quite good on a scoop. She's through again. She's trying to find someone free, and it's a great touchdown.
Port gets, brilliant work from the Taipans, and they're really putting Blaze now to the sword just after a bit of a lull in play, and it's 5-1 on the scoreline.
Yeah. And that's the difference so far between the two teams, is basically the Taipans are scooping up the middle, and Blades, they haven't worked out how to defend that. They need better separation between the two mids to try and shut that scooper down, but Taipans have scored 3 on that now, so that's something that Blades will have to look at half-time or just now, otherwise they'll be behind. But yeah, 5-1, 10 minutes to go to half-time.
Although these 40-minute games, that it does give you a lot of time, doesn't it, to really sort of, even if you are 5-1 down or behind the play, it just gives you a chance to really get back into it.
Oh, that was close. It's Danielle there, she just rolled the ball. Coming back to set up a middle play by the looks of it. Just trying to get the right players in the right positions. It's Danielle scoop, she's going through.
Blaze looking to try and get through.
There.
Referee, I think, signaling 6 touch, or let's have a look, we'll see what the referee's trying to give here. It's turned over anyhow.
I think she scooped and got touched, but there's a bit of a discussion going on, and the game goes on. So Taipans driving out. Looks like they're just coming to their sub box here. They normally take 1, 2, 3. Oh, Nikki Marsh just dropped there, so that's probably just a bit of heat, bit of tiredness. So Blades right back on attack again. Exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, with the fatigue and the heat, what's the best way you feel that potentially trying to cut down those areas? Sometimes it can be hard, of course, but is it just sticking to the basics and just trying to work from there?
It's just concentration. It really is. I mean, sometimes when it's wet, when it's hot, you know, your hands might be a bit slippery, but a lot of time it's just fatigue and concentration. Just when you got the ball, you just got to focus on those little things. That's good. Oh, what's happened here? As he penalised them for a hard touch. It's a good period played for Northwest. This is their third set of 6. They really need to get one here if they can. Get back in the game. Danielle's at half, running a hammer. It's a nice line. It's Nikki. She nearly got in there. Claire's quite a good defender with the white cap.
Yeah, Blades trying to put the pressure on. They need the next score.
They're trying to bring them out. Just trying to work out what they're trying to set. I think they want to get on white cap here, which is clear, and then they're going to run a short side scoop, and they got numbers. Oh, not quite. Here they go again.
Yeah, still trying to put the squeeze on, trying to push through.
Oh, but that's great defence by Taipans. They kept them out for 3 sets 6. That's really good defence. Oh, throwing the ball away there, so they've got a penalty, an extra free 10 metres.
All that staying composed.
Yeah, they are. And get a fresh set of players on, and they should transition on here. What have they got? Here comes Katrina. Oh, this could be the same play again. No. Good switch, but is she going to get it? Oh, she's just got around.
Dive. Really went for it, but it's, yeah, brilliant work. And the Taipans are extending their lead. They are 6-1 in front.
I think that's Alice. Yeah, switch, late switch there with Danny and Alice, and that's a great score. That's 6 on the board for them. 6.5 minutes to go. I'll pass you over to Camille. Camille, come on. Everyone's getting bored of my voice.
Yeah, just a reminder, we've got Camille Shabdeen and Michael Rower from the Southwest Saxons joining us in the commentary box for this one. The Blades trying to push on.
Oh. Lovely shot from the link there from Taipans. Cut down that play. Yeah, Blades do really need a score or two before the end of this half if they want to have any hope of coming back. Even though the match is off 40 minutes, it doesn't seem like that. It seems like it disappears in about 5, especially when you go 1 or 2 down. Sweep picked up. Completely sent the defensive middle, but I'm not sure the attacking middle's on the same page there.
A lot of players and coaches talk about that period just before half time and the period just after. It can be just such a crucial part of the game in terms of changing momentum. If they can, even though 6-1 down, the Blades can get one before the break. It just gives them a little bit of boost. Yeah,
it's just confidence in the sub box and like a bit of positivity. Sort of realise that you can get the scores in. Sort of put the psychological pressure on the other team.
Yeah, they've worked that well, haven't they?
It's the very well drilled move that they have. Unfortunately not coming off this time. Oh, interesting. No, the ref's not liking that. It's a very Union-esque move. So yeah, speaking of momentum, if Taipans get a score here, I think they might try and close out the game. 7-1's a very difficult score to get back from, no matter what team you are.
Yeah, still plenty of time to do that as well. 4.5 minutes.
Naomi's coming round on the sweep. Is there going to be a dive? No. Just walks in casually. Looks very close, but ref's given it. Great score.
Well, with that heat and the surface. What's the surface like? Is it quite hard out there?
Pitch 1 is horrible. That last 5 metres is very dusty. You can see it kick up when people play. So a lot of people are slipping over actually. So yeah, it's probably a good thing from Naomi that she didn't dive. Seen a lot of bleeding players out there.
Yeah, I've seen a few bruises and cuts across most of the players yesterday and even this morning. Although there was a slight sort of dew, wasn't there, yesterday morning? And I don't know if that was...
Oh yeah, it's really wet yesterday morning.
Creating a few problems.
Dried up in about 15 minutes though.
Yeah, it is absolutely sweltering here in St Ives. And I think a few...
she got
with that is superb! We'll take just great encouragement out of that. Over on the 5 metre mark, trying to spread the ball out wide, but it's a bit too high, and turnover. So the Taipans having to build from the back. Fresh faces on, having to just sort of wrap round and wait for the cavalry to come on.
Blades have done pretty well here. They've got 3 before the halfway, 3 touches, 4th on the halfway. Oh no, it's a great pass around. Looks like the same move as per usual, scooping through on 5th. Oh, offside there from the... Oh, is that offside? Can't really see. Yeah, it looks like an offside. It's good transition there, putting the pressure on Blades and getting the penalty. So it looks like a sweeper on the link here. Is that? Oh, good cover from the wing. She took on 2 attackers there, took them both out.
Taipan still trying to even out 7-1 up, trying to add to the scoreline. He's still applying the pressure, trying to hunt them down.
Another sweep on the far sides. Just good cover. 5th touch. Ah, it's a great dive if that's a score. Out of nowhere. Yeah, it's a lovely set of defence and then just caught napping on the last touch. That was a lovely finish though.
It was really good reach. And
Camille's had enough on the commentary, so I'll come back in for the last minute of this first half. But yeah, they're looking very happy, the Taipans ladies in the sub box. Lots of high five. Come on, Northwest. We're driving up. This is better. Much better yards. That's on 2. Great driving. Keep the momentum on. It's 3.
Can they try and get over the line? Final minute, just to give him a little bit of a boost going into the break. Shame, just dies in front.
Taipans a 2 pass to the middle, and Claire's got around, and Matt's great yards on 1, and then they'll probably go back to the sub box, driving him. Oh, it's a bit of a flattish pass there. Yeah. There's 3 and fresh transition coming on. It's a great run. Trail in here and scoop again. Yeah, I've got them again. Can she find a player? There's a touch there. Yeah. That's good defence. They're still scooping through the middle though, aren't they? That's the big problem for Northwest Blades, but they defended well there and denied them that score.
So it's the final few seconds then before the break.
Ooh, there's the hooter.
And that brings an end to the first 20 minutes, and it's been a comfortable first 20 for the Taipans there, and they are stormed into an 8-1 lead, and looking like they're wanting to go again in the second half as well. But that will bring an end to the first 20, and we'll be back in a couple of moments' time to bring you the second 20 minutes of our 4th game of the day. The South East Taipans taking on the North West Blades.
So we've probably spent a good part of the whole campaign over the last 4 years, considering things. Definitely in the last 12 months, knowing that the temperature and the heat was going to be something that us, or those from the England side, are not quite used to.
It starts way back when, and the medical team's so well organised. We can't sort of thank Carrie enough for the way she's led it. So well set up on all fronts.
Our strength and conditioning programme in the build-up to this event was led by 3 of our S&C coaches, all of whom have worked in sport in some way or another. We've then also got our physios that are all based in the NHS as well, but also professional sports clubs. From my own perspective, I'm obviously working with a number of Super League clubs at the minute, so all of those techniques and skills that we've learned over the last few years, we brought all of those to England Touch to provide the best service for our players.
It's amazing that our team are all volunteers, and I think a lot of people forget that there's a lot of people here who are on annual leave and unpaid leave to support this. This is a big event, but it's big for us as well. It helps us to develop in our careers and a step forward, and I think everybody's put in a lot of effort to make sure that the programs are very specific to our sport. We've done a lot of data collection over the last nearly 6 years now, and we know the demand of the sport in our European setting, and we're starting to understand it a lot more in the Southern Hemisphere of what we need to do to keep our athletes fit. Injury rates are significantly lower than they were this time, I was going to say 8 years ago, so my first World Cup in 2011. Athletes were nowhere near. We are sheets ahead of a lot of the countries here as well.
The players have reacted really well for this tournament. We've implemented a number of strategies, so wellness, we assess neuromuscular function, we're monitoring hydration after every game, and actually this tournament is probably the best buy-in we've ever got from players.
Oh, it's just amazing. Every time we go to pitch side for a match, you've got physio with you, you've got all the equipment we need. It's just amazing. If there's any issues, any troubles at all, you're seen to straight away. It's just, I couldn't ask for more. It's been brilliant.
And ultimately, the sports psychologists are the big move for this year. And I know members of my squad have been utilising them, going and seeing them. 4 days in the heat, away from home, at the extent of your abilities, tests everybody, and everybody sort of reaches that point of near break, and the ability to go there and have a look and come back is what everybody wants, and we've got the support from the sports psychologists to do that, so it's been huge for our performance really. But also support for us. It can be a pretty lonely place as a coach, and you often don't have anyone to turn to, and just a little bit of help, a little bit of advice, a little bit of guidance on how to keep the squad at their best is really, really appreciated.
My biggest accomplishment for this World Cup campaign is the staff that I have chosen. So they've been interviewed, they've worked with us for a number of years now. They have all stepped up, they work so hard, they're passionate about what they do, they're passionate about making sure that the athletes get what they need, and they allow me just to do my job so easily. I have every faith in every single person that sits on my medical team.
So, welcome back. The second half just moments away. The South East Taipans against the North West Blades, and Taipans currently leading at 8 points to 1. Joined by Camille Shabadine and Michael Rower. And we've been, well, I say we've been, Michael and Camille have been discussing what the North West Blades was the best way of getting back into this game. What do you reckon then?
Yeah, is it 8-1? Yeah,
it is.
I think, Taipans are playing very well, and they've got very, very good players. There's a lot of experienced players in there, and they know what they're doing, and they set up their plays really well. But let's look at North West Blades. Looks like there's drag in here. They're trying to do a couple of longs, I think. Well, it's a bit of a heavy touch. What's happened there? Oh, loss in control. Oh dear. First thing they need to do is keep the ball for 6.
Yeah, is it just about almost just is it just building blocks at this point? Just trying to, have that one, even if it doesn't come off, use the 6, go again.
Yeah,
go again.
I mean, playing the territory battle and just keeping the ball for 6 touches and getting them down on their line is, that's sort of a battle in itself, winning that yardage game. But here come the Taipans girls back. They're moving the ball well, and that's Danny picking up from half. She's good at scooping, but she's caught at half. Yeah, that's good D. That's a lot better D. I think the Northwest ladies are just going to drive to their sub box because this is their second set they've been on. That's 1. Coming for 2. They're getting some fresh players on now. That's 3. What are they going to do here? That's 4. They're going to have to go on this one on a scoop. She picks up. Just lacking a little bit of momentum on that to really put Taipans under pressure.
Yeah, that's the second time we've seen them now. And straight away the Taipans just coming with a bit of sense of purpose, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, that's at halfway on 3, and they've got the new transitioning players coming on, and they're probably going to strike their mid channel. Here they go. Alice has got the ball. She'll trail inside, and a scoop. Looks like a scoop on here. Can she find someone? Yes. Or was that a touch? No, that's great defence, yeah.
Well, the Blades get themselves back organised, and it stops the score.
I think that was Morgan that made that final touch and just done the dump there and got pushed off the ball. What's the referee saying? Is that going to be a penalty for a hard touch, I think? Yep, it is. So they should be able to get out of their half on this set here. This is second here. Yeah, that's much better driving.
Just on the edge
That's
of halfway.
Nikki with the ball, yeah. And there's Nikki going to pick up. Nikki's pretty quick. She's going short side. It's a great scoop. Oh. Was that the hair call? Was that a touch on the hair, of Nikki's hair? I think that was. I'm not sure. Unless Alice just got her on the back. But that was a much better play. At least they had a scoop and tried to attack them.
Yeah, 3 minutes gone. So still no scores in the second half. But I feel the Northwest Blades are, at least they're trying to get back into this and trying to create some chances.
Much better period of play. They just need to keep Taipans out. Try and work their way back into the game. Looks like they're setting up for a scoop here. It's a short ball. Through the middle again.
Easy in the end. And the Taipans, they soaked up all this pressure from the Blades in the start of the second, and they've just waltzed on through.
Yeah, it's a bit frustrating because actually the Northwest ladies are very talented players. It's just a couple of little technical things when they're making that mid touch, which is their short side and which is their open side, and just protecting their short side. But they need better separation between the two middles. The two middles are getting caught on a scoop every time. So I think Taipans have done that about 4 times now. So it's just a little difference between the teams, really. Taipans are scoring a lot off that scoop. Here comes the Blades back again. Got good field position. Let's see what they can do here. It's a good switch and dump. This is final. Looks like they're just going to kill it in the corner. Okay.
So again, nothing comes to it for the Northwest Blades, and now the Taipans having to build from the back. But again, just so much momentum.
That's the second touch. Good strong driving. It's a great run by Sophie.
So halfway already.
And this might be, looks like they're going long. Emily's very quick and she just coasts through. Yeah.
Well, another one added to the board for the Taipans, and they're just being absolutely clinical every time they look to come forward. The South East Taipans, and that's the 10th up on the board. 15 minutes to go. So in terms of your side, Michael, Southwest Saxons, what's What's the thinking now, rest of the day then, and then looking ahead to tomorrow? How the team sort of feeling?
Yeah, we've got 1 win this morning. We need to get 2 or 3 wins today, and then we'll be in the top 4. So we've got 2 hard games later on. We're playing West Wildcats and Taipans, the London team. So yeah, there's 2 good games for us, and we're right up for it. So if we can get 2 wins, then we'll be right in the top 4 slots. But it's pretty competitive in those top 4. Sharks are looking very strong. I think Northwest Blades are looking pretty strong. So there's about 3 or 4 teams looking for that 3rd and 4th slot, and we're one of them. But yeah, we're pretty confident of getting up there.
And it's an interesting dynamic tomorrow in terms of it's obviously the 3rd and final day. You've had 2 days full of touch rugby, but yet it's the knockout stages and a bit of the pressure. So how does that sort of dynamic work in terms of that pressure, but then also the fatigue potentially kicking in?
Yeah, we've got 16 players, so we rested 5 yesterday for 1 game, and we're going to rest 5 again for 1 day, just to try and keep them fresh. If you're playing 3 games per day for 3 days, it's a lot of touch. We've had to play a ref a couple as well, which is also quite draining. So Nationals isn't pleasant. It's a grind. It's just, and particularly in this hot weather as well, it just makes it really unpleasant. But here come the Blades back again. See what they can do here.
Yeah, let's see if we can try and get
Nicola's
something.
scooping again. She's calling her down. Oh yes, they've got a fresh set of 6, so this is a good opportunity for them to try and set something up, structure something up. See if they can get one back for the ladies.
Still trying to be inventive, trying to find a way through.
Yeah, nothing on there. The Taipans are just holding on their line, aren't they? They're keeping good shape. Northwest ladies are trying to sort of bend them out of shape and get them pulling one way or another, but they're not quite working here. They got them on the short side here. Oh, that was close.
Blades very, very nearly.
I'm going to pass you over Superstar Camille.
He's back.
Into attack. Yeah, Camille's back onto the commentary box for us. And well, just over 12 minutes remaining.
Taipans still looking as fresh as minute 1 here, running very hard. Probably expect to see the same. Oh, having said that, it's a slippery ball in the heat.
There we go. That's your first go at the commentator's curse. And but if you were the Taipans now, you've got such a good lead. Would you be thinking? Trying to maybe conserve a bit of energy, going for the rest of the day?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just sort of finish out the game. I'd assume they're not going for points difference, so unless they've beaten Sharks already, or maybe have lost to Sharks already, which is probably their biggest game. So yeah, just run through the structures, try out some new things you haven't really tested yet, and just like keep the legs safe for the big important games on day 3. And then again, if you're on the live stream, you don't really want to slow down, do you?
Yeah, you want to try and keep going. The Southeast Taipans are
showing no signs of slowing down anyway.
No, absolutely. Yeah, they're pretty relentless so far.
No. 5th touch. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, just a sloppy pass, trying to get the attack going again. Over the
touch 3.
Yeah.
They did the same thing every time, but it seems to be working a treat. So pass back inside scoop. That's with every other transition. Naomi straight through the middle. Picks the perfect hole.
There we go, as easy as that. And the Taipans extend that lead again. Naomi Ferner just gliding on through. Needed the support as the half, got it. And the Southeast Taipans 11 points to 1.
I think the Blades just need to focus on completing a set of 6, getting down to the line and not giving the Taipans the opportunity to scoop. To try and get 3 or 4 touches by the halfway and not allowing them their transition setup. Or score 12 in 10 minutes and win the game. Happy days.
I think that would probably be up there, one of those incredible comebacks I've ever seen. if the Northwest Blades can come back from this. But I've seen funnier
This
things
is
in
looking
sport.
good.
This is lovely. And just
Great defence from the wing coming up and blocking that pass.
Final pass just lacking. Taipans still full of energy.
4. This is better from the Blades. They've got only 5th coming now. Oh, and they've got the turnover. So much better pressure.
Is that something you guys work on as a team in terms of the defensive, keeping that high line and putting the pressure on early?
We don't want to give away our secrets on the live stream. But yeah, we do have a few tactics to sort of save our middles for touch 4 and 5.
Yeah.
But it's obviously very difficult in the heat of the moment and when you're tired and all that kind of stuff. So I fully understand if the teams do get a roll on, because I've been in that situation many times. Being run through by very quick players. So just again the pressure at Taipans causing unforced errors on the Blades' part.
Yeah, they keep coming. Taipans, well, that's
I think that's 3 sets in a row for both teams, so definitely the tiredness creeping in now.
yeah, rare mistakes just creeping in.
Oh, big, knocked her over and keeps going. Maybe she was offside. The penalty, lovely drive. Yeah, one.
So the Blades trying to put the pressure on, just trying to see if they can get over the line. This is a nice play, creeping towards the line, going through. Oh, very close indeed. Touch clearly just comes in.
So you'd expect them to set up the same move and sort of run a variation of it, which I think is going to happen. So yep, got the right middle, and then the pickup. But the link's unfortunately fallen over there. But yeah, that was the right idea.
Southeast Taipans then just looking to try and build from the back. Trying to push on forward. Space opening up to the rights. So an opportunity for the Northwest Blades then. Can they try and utilise this?
Oh, beautiful.
There we go.
Taipans paying no attention. Slides through for a score.
And as easy as that, space open up, we can just see him pointing towards, run! Look at that space.
Turned on the afterburners. Lovely dive for the line.
So 6 minutes remaining. And a reminder that our next game will be from the mixed competition. See the North East Raiders taking on the North West Blades. That'll be the next coming up on pitch number 1. Still applying that pressure though, the Taipans. Pretty relentless at the moment.
It's great pace. Just evaded through the middle with a swivel of the hips.
So just over 5 minutes left to play, and the Taipans well have the game pretty much all but sealed. Still looking to try and keep up that relentless pressure.
Taipans are very good at sending their links up to make touches to sort of protect their middles and allow them to be onside and ready to shut down the Blades' attack, which just happened there. They've got who they wanted that time though. But unfortunately, not been able to score.
Still trying to keep the pressure up, the Northwest Blades. Just linking us.
So yeah, they've noticed the links coming up and they've tried to punish her with a 2-on-1. Yeah, great cover across. The pass over. Oh, is that down? Oh, we've got.
Very unfortunate. It was a lovely take.
Some promising attack from the Blades, so they can take into their next match and hopefully clean up a few defensive errors and be very competitive. Reminds me of my own team. We score a lot, but we also concede a lot. So that's what we're trying to clean up today.
So turnover, Taipans coming forward over the 10 metre. Over halfway.
It looks like I'm back on the mic again.
Yeah, final 3 minutes. Yeah, it's the Taipans.
Great dump by Katrina. Ellis picks up. And she's trying to find someone free. That's a great defence. They got the touch in the end. So that's just something that the Northwest Blades will have to work on, is basically the attacking player is scooping on the retreating middle and there's no one else to protect her. So they are scooping and going around the back, and that's where they scored a lot of their touchdowns. Probably about 7 or 8 of their touchdowns have come off a scoop for the Taipans. So that's something for the Blades to work on, but they're driving well up here. And we've got a transition. I think this is Morgan coming on. It's great at driving, good dump. They've got a bit of a roll on here. So their last, it's got to go, got to let it go.
So 2 minutes remaining, and the Taipans looking to try and get from inside their own half. Fresh faces coming on over the halfway line. Look at the momentum now building again, timing it to perfection, eating up the yards. Space still opening up.
That's a great ball back on the inside, and then Sophie picks up and scoops. Can she find someone free? Oh, what's the ref said? I think he said the Northwest Blades lady was onside, made the touch, so that's great defence. Now they got the hard work of getting back off their line again and back to the sub box again. That's their second touch. They're slowly working their way up there.
Especially this relentless pressure from the Taipans still. Even with 39 minutes gone.
Yeah, they got that shooting defence, haven't they, which is keeping them in their half, pressuring them. 1 minute to go. And Taipans trying to set up something here.
Oh, they're going to try and finish in style.
That's a great touch here.
Yeah, brilliant touch just for the line. Still with the Taipans though, 30 seconds remaining. Of course, we'll wait for that hooter to go.
That's good defence for the Northwest Blades, yeah. That's good driving. This is much better. It's 3 touches right up to halfway, very direct.
There goes that hooter. And there we go, full time then. And it's a comprehensive win for the South East Taipans. A superb victory for them. Really confident performance, assured, clinical. and they'll move on. And the North West Blades, well, they'll take a few things out of it. They had a few good attacking moments, and I'm sure they'll try and hone in on some of those errors and make them better and for the games to come. But Michael and Camille, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure
joining us in the commentary box.
Thank you very much for having us.
Don't know how much value we added, but it was good fun for us.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
And we'll
Thanks
now
for that.
move on to our next game, which will come from the mixed competition, and we'll see the North East Raiders taking on the North West Blades. They'll be coming up next.
Cheers, fellas. Couple of minutes now to next number.